Okay, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Live from the Sword Coast podcast. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly dungeon master this afternoon. Today, we are playing a very special session of my ongoing campaign playing the Pathfinder 2nd Edition playtest using Greg Gillespie's very cool Barrowmaze Complete. Now, before we launch into the introductions, I am going to make sure that we're actually streaming here, so just bear with me one moment. Hey, and it appears that we are. As terrific. So today's session is a very special one. This is as part of my RPG a day event resolution. I'm participating in my first virtual convention this weekend. So this is being run as part of the Nerds International Virtual Convention, which I'll include. I did not think to do it beforehand, but I'll include a link to the website for that in the description. And my very generous players tonight are folks who have submitted themselves to a session with me as part of this convention. So first off, thanks guys for making the table today.
Thank you. Good times.
So what I'll do is, as is custom around these parts, I'll do the introductions by the order that you guys logged in. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing? So we'll start with Sean.
Sean Phelan. I am running Ruggin the Dwarf. He is a rogue and a scholar, I might add. Mischievous, independent, self-willed, but loyal.
Nice. And next up is James.
I'm James Henderson over in Amsterdam, and today I'm playing Huxley, a strong but frequently silent warrior, very ambitious, looking to improve his money belt significantly today.
Nice. And last but not least is Jim.
I'm Jim from the wonderful home of Basalt Zombies, Florida.
Nice.
I am playing Bargle, a wizard who happens to be a little bit on the criminal side, because how else are you going to fund your necromantic research?
Totally. Now, guys, before we launch in, I am happy to give a hero point to anybody who can tell me where I got the names for today's sessions.
Bargle is very familiar, but I can't place it off the top of my head.
Okay.
Not going to get it.
No?
No.
All of these names come from the original basic set red box.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yes.
Today.
These are I actually sent around an offer of XP reward to all my regular players if they were so excited by this thing, and none of them got in here. So.
We're in good company.
We're in good company. So apparently, like, I'm infinitely amused by such like remote trivia.
We're too
Okay,
old, Kevin. We're too old at this point to remember that stuff.
Exactly. Anybody old enough to have played that is senile anyway. So.
Right.
See, that was my first set. So.
Exactly.
All right. So the what we're going to start with is a cutscene. So our scene opens in the a dark nighttime street in a thriving medieval metropolis. There are one or two, strange people who are kind of making their way down these lonely streets on their own, but mostly the lights and the noise are coming from the lit windows inside a tavern. And our camera kind of slowly moves over, and we see that there is the, archetypical, adventurer's tavern. There's a bunch of people who are sitting around tables. Some are celebrating victories with giant piles of treasure. Some are conspiring for their next outing. And at one of these tables, we can see two people talking. One of them is a grizzled looking dwarf who's wearing just like traveling clothes and has sort of like the dust and dirt on the road or from the road on him. And then we see speaking to him is a hooded figure wearing long blue robes. And the locals would tell you that those are indicative that this is someone who is a member of the Church of Arcantril. Arcantril is, of course, the goddess of magic. So this week sort of cut into, the camera goes into the tavern, and we hear the noise and bustle of laughing and arguing and demands for more drinks and people eating and stuff like that, the clinks of coin. And we go over to this table where this priest and this dwarf are in a hushed conversation. And the priest says, well, then you can take me to Ironguard Mott then. I will see you tomorrow. And the dwarf says, aye, we'll see you tomorrow. And I'm going to apologize now for my shitty accents, but I really enjoy doing them. So
Nice.
So he says, I will see you tomorrow. The priest sort of gives a furtive look around, and he passes over this little pouch of coins. The dwarf takes it. The priest gets up, and he heads out into the night. And the marked contrast between the bustle and noise and warmth of the inn is and the outside is shocking. From bright colors and laughter and whatnot, the door shuts, boom, and it's suddenly a quiet and moonlit street. The priest sort of pulls the robe around him. He looks back and forth, and then starts making his way down towards one end of this street. As he does, he hears, or we hear, this voice say, "Father, Father, you've got to help me." And the priest sort of, looks over and carries on his way. We then see this darkened figure sort of come out of this alleyway, and he staggers forward. And the shadows are cast, so we can't really quite see what this guy is, but he's got long, straggly hair. He's human. And he's saying, "Father, you've got to help me." And he seems to be sort of staggering out into the middle of the road, and then is making his way towards the priest. The priest sort of does that like half shuffle of trying to decide if he can try and get past this guy. And he decides, as the guy is getting closer and continuing to speak to him, that perhaps he should go another way. He turns and starts heading back the other way down the road. As he does, this guy calls out again, "Where are you going, Father? Father, come back!" And you can hear the sounds of the heavy foot and uneven footfalls of this shambling guy who came out of the shadows, and then the quickening footfalls of the priest, who is walking his way along. And he keeps looking back and keeps walking along and looking back, and he's looking around, and he sees this darkened alley, and that seems to be, he thinks, is a good shortcut. He turns, races over towards it, and as he's about to go in, this man comes out and slams into his, basically like full force into his shoulder. And we hear this very quiet kind of, "Ugh!" And as that happens, as this man steps out and priest. Did I freeze up, guys? Was there a brief?
Yeah, there was. It's a little sticky.
Freeze up there, guys?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, so the guy comes out. He bumps into this priest, and then he places his hand around the back to catch him. As he does, the guy who's chasing after him, he slows to a trot and then to a walk and makes his way over. As he gets over, the man who bumps into the priest gently lays him down on the ground, stands up, and we can see that he has plunged a dagger into this guy's chest. He pulls it back. We can see the symbol of a star of Arcantrol lying, and the guy's eyes kind of loll into the back of his head, clearly dead. The big guy who was shouting says, "Kid, look up. Does he have it on him?" And the other guy looks down and goes around and starts rustling through his pouches at his waist. And then he grabs something, and it's a scroll casing. And the scroll casing is about yay big. And, yep, there we go. About that big. It's about an inch thick. And it has, it's made of like a cherry stained wood. And it has the marking of Arcantrol on it as well. He grabs this thing, sees it in the moonlight. "All right, let's go." And they turn and they race off into the darkness. The camera sort of pans back, and we see the slowly spreading pool of blood beneath this guy. And it pans up into the clouds. And then we sort of do this smash cut where we're now seeing a bunch of mist. And as we cut through the mist, we're beginning to see that it is the gray light of morning in the town of Helix. And what we see stagger out of, you can see, guys, on the screen here, this is what Helix looks like. This is the town where you guys have recently come. Now, let's go through a couple things about the Barrowmoor. Because you guys, this is the first time playing the Barrowmoor, I'm going to inflict the same cut text on you guys that all new players get. So local villagers whisper of a mysterious place deep in the marsh, a place shrouded in mist and dotted with barrow mounds, ruined columns, and standing stones. The tomb robbers who explore beneath the mounds, or rather the few who return, tell tales of labyrinthine passages, magnificent grave goods, and terrifying creatures waiting in the dark. Are you brave or foolish enough to enter the Barrowmaze? Well, of course you guys are. Where else are you going to get riches?
That's definitely a 2 on TripAdvisor.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's talk about you guys all know each other. Let's first what we see. I guess let me just we'll introduce the characters and then we'll do some more background stuff. So the door opens to the Brazen Strumpet, and the Brazen Strumpet is number 8 on the map there. It's a 2-story fair. The Brazen Strumpet is the local tavern and inn run by a proprietor named Ballo, an ex-adventurer. For those who are looking for something a little more sundry in their pleasures, at number 9 is the Foul Pheasant, run by Perny Ticklebottom, which is a gambling house, brothel, and if you're willing to pay top premium, you can you can actually spend the night there too, but you won't be spending it alone. Alternatively, you guys could have spent time at a local, sleeping in a local barn or stuff like that. But I'm going to assume that unless you guys say you're at the Foul Pheasant, you guys are coming out of the Brazen Strumpet. And what you see as you step out, you can see sitting next to the door on your right as you're walking out is, of course, the same haunted figure that you have learned is always sort of lurking out there. It's this young-ish guy. He's in his mid-20s, long, stringy black hair, 5 days worth of growth. He's filthy. He stinks. And his name is Alistair. You've heard Alistair is sort of the town madman. Next to him is this enormous dog named Mr. Paggins. And what you've heard that Mr. Paggins is his master went out on an expedition into the Barrowmaze, and he did not come back. The adventuring party did. The rest, his master died, and ever since, Mr. Paggins seems to have adopted this homeless guy as his new ward. As you walk out, we see 3 striking figures. First, a dwarf steps out and kind of, stretches himself after a long night of probably sleeping on the floor because you guys are pretty broke right now. There is a tall-looking robed figure, and then there is a fairly heavily armored figure who steps out. Why don't we I'll let you guys each give a quick description of what your character looks like, and don't feel that you got to be married to whatever the picture was that I sent to. You can go nuts and describe your characters however you like. So why don't we go? I'll do it the order I said there. So Sean, what do we see when we see Ruggin walk out?
He's having his morning pipe. So he's kind of steadying. It's kind of his coffee, if you will. So he's taking long drags. He's covered in leathers, boots, vest, some spiked braces. He has sort of a very distinctive cut for a dwarf in his hair, and as well as his beard. It's affected by his travels more than his lineage. Okay. And he's just he's looking at his companions and looking forward to the fortunes of the day.
Okay. And the next to walk out is, of course, Bargle.
Well, Bargle walks out, and he's wearing a flowing cape, some shoulder pauldrons. He's got oily, dirty black hair, and he's just kind of getting the dirt out from under his nails with a ritualistic dagger.
Nice. Cleaning his fastidious cleaning at the beginning of the day.
Schemes he's going to get up to today.
Nice. And last but not least is Huxley.
So Huxley's a good 6 foot tall, short black hair, almost down to stubble level. the signs of a sword slash down from one of his eyes, a moment of lack of success, wearing chainmail, which is, despite all the mud around and about, is in nice nick and well cared for. And over his shoulder is he's got his favoured javelin, something to keep him out of sword's range.
Nice.
So he's got a sheath of them on his back.
Okay. So he comes, of the three of you, the loudest is likely Huxley, but he doesn't, you know, as much noise as it makes, it's not the clumsy sort of like staggering around you would expect with that heavy a load. He still walks as if it's nothing on him. And as you walk out, Bargle sort of looks down at Ruggan and says, "You still have it, don't you?" And Ruggan, you pat something on your at your waist, and we can see that there is a scroll casing of stained cherry wood with the marking of Arcantril on it.
That was us, eh?
Well, it wasn't you, but what has happened is you guys, for some reason, I'll let you tell me why, if you want to fill in more reasons why, you guys had met up in Ironguard Mott. And you can see on the map where Ironguard Mott's about a day's travel away from Helix. Ironguard Mott is the capital of the Duchy of Eric, and it's where the Ironguard family lives. In the last 2 seasons, there have been more and more adventurers drawn to Helix because of rumors reaching further east about the riches that people have been bringing back from the Barrowmoor, rather specifically the Barrowmaze and the Barrow Mounds. So the Barrowmoor itself is this massive, like 30 miles by 35 mile swath of impenetrable, horrible, swampy mess. It also is said to have a curse on it because it is, in addition to being impassable in the spring, winter, and fall, where the rains make it too boggy to safely navigate. It's also said to have some kind of evil curse. The dead rest uneasily in the Barrowmoor, and this is largely because of a region called the Barrow Mounds, underneath which is the legendary Barrowmaze. Now, what I'd like each of you guys to do is please give me a D20 roll. Let's see what other rumors you've heard about this. See what initially kind of got your interest peaked. Okay. Ooh. What you've heard, Ruggan?
Yes.
Is that the mutated people of the Barrowmaze. There are mutants, horrible, you know, twisted versions of mortals living underneath the Barrow Mounds in the Barrowmaze that enslave humans.
Well, it's a good thing I'm a dwarf then, isn't it?
Yes. Bargle, you've heard that there was an elven maiden who was recently freed from the Barrowmaze. And Huxley, you've heard that there are runic tablets that can be found underneath the Barrowmaze, or in the Barrowmaze, and that the runic tablets curse those who warn them. And this is a guy who I think that probably, let's see here, Ruggan, you heard yours from this really twitchy-eyed kind of caravan guard who had been traveling back and forth between Helix, Ironguard Mott, and Bogtown. There are these really nasty things called froglings, which are basically like, you picture a combination of man, frog, and shark. That's kind of what these things are. And they seem to be, you know, as the summer is going on, be more and more bold in their attacks on the caravans moving back and forth. And this guy swears that it's because they take them and they sell them to these mutants in the Barrowmaze. Bargle, you heard yours from a half-orc, actually. There was a half-orc alchemist named Skurg, who you had met, and he swore that there was this, he'd heard a story that this elf maiden, and no one knows where she's gone yet. They think maybe Bogtown, but someone was actually held there, and somebody freed her. The reason that's an important myth is because no one really knows where the entrance to the Barrowmaze is. There's people who say they have been there, but there's no clear consensus of how you actually get in there. And yours, Huxley, yours was from a guy who, like, he had basically, like, as if he'd had a stroke. His whole right side of his face was all paralyzed. and he told you only after many, many, many pints of very, very strong ale that he actually read a tablet that someone said they brought back, and it cursed him. So he says, do not read them. He, of course, doesn't have the tablet anymore or any proof of it, but that's the story you've heard. Now, the truth of these things or not, I cannot say. A little bit of information you probably knew about the Barrowmoor. So the Barrow Mounds themselves are this series of burial crypts from a now forgotten northern people. The Duchy of Eric is part of what's called generally just the northern reaches. And none of you guys are religious types, so it's not really super important to know about that just yet. But there is a bit of a clash of cultures in this area where, you know, the older northern cultures who worship this group of gods called the Angramak are encountering another younger group of gods called the Futurus. But what you have recently heard is that this group of oh, James, we still got you. Oh, yeah. Okay. This group of adventurers, including this goblin. You're not sure what his name is. People are disputing, or rather, are inconsistent with what his name is. But there's some goblin who seems to have gone every time he goes out into the Barrow Mounds. He comes back with treasure. He's known locally as the Lucky Goblin, and if what he and his adventurers most recently did was discover this very special barrow, which they were calling the Guardian Barrow. And what that was it had it was apparently some kind of special crypt that was buried for some ancient forgotten warrior as part of some forgotten tribe. But because these, you know, as all adventurers are, they're remorseless loudmouths, they came back and talked about it at the bar, which then meant that those rumors made their way to Ironguard Mott. And that barrow was supposed to be only one of 4. Now, Ruggin, that obviously got everyone thinking of, well, if that's only one of them, there's so much riches there, and they managed to come back losing only maybe 3 henchmen in the process. Hell, we could do that. And that's when you...
It seems ripe. It seems ripe.
It seems ripe, yes. And that's why, Ruggin, when this strange robed figure approached you and your friends, I'm assuming you guys actually know it. Like, it's not just that you guys are mercenaries who happen to like all agree in the tavern, like hostile style, like, hey, let's go to so-and-so today. I'm assuming you guys know each other from before. And Ruggin, you were approached by this strange robed figure and offering to sell you a map to one of the Guardian Barrows. And what you've heard is, just one second here. Obviously, you know, you're a scholar. You're no dummy. You wanted to make sure you did your due diligence, and you insisted on seeing the scroll. And what the guy told you was that it was recovered from the records of the Church of Arcantril from the east. And your review of it seems pretty spot on. Now, he wouldn't let you read some of the more pertinent details until you actually paid him for it. But you, Bargle, and Huxley got together, talked this over, scrimped and pinched every last penny you could get together to purchase this thing. And you showed up. Now, knowing that you guys only kind of found out about this because the other adventurers were fucking loudmouths and were bragging about what they did, I'm going to assume that you guys have kept your expedition a little more incognito. Is that a safe assumption?
Absolutely.
Okay. So when you're in town, you guys have some assorted, gear and whatnot on your character sheets. Is there anything else that you would want to obtain? I sent an email yesterday as well for those listening at home before we went live with a list of the available henchmen that are there for hire at number 4, which is Osen's Mercenary Guild. Now, men-at-arms are basically characters without class. And I don't mean that they're uncouth. I mean, they actually have no character class. They basically, in Pathfinder 2nd edition, you get hit points from both your ancestry, like what used to be called your race, and your class. Men-at-arms are basically characters that don't have a class just yet, so they've got a lot less hit points. They can still fight, they can still carry shit, they can still, you know, do things. It's just that they're not as sturdy as what you guys are.
Not surprising.
No. So let me just open up my thing here. Do you guys wish to try and purchase anything further in town, or do you want to hire any mercenaries?
Let's see. 5 silver pieces a day, eh?
Yep.
2-day minimum, no refunds.
Yes. And in the one thing I do in my normal campaigns is I like doing castings for NPCs because it's just an easy way to get your head around. Osen is played by old Bruce Willis. So if you go into the mercenary guild to check out the, you know, wares, what you see is it's kind of like you know, like it's like a restaurant takeaway kind of area. You walk in and there's a kind of long rectangular room that has benches around it on which the mercenaries available for hire kind of sit. And then there's a little like a nook where Osen sits behind a little desk. And you guys walk in and Osen looks up at you guys and he does that Bruce Willis eye arc and it says, "New customers."
Morning.
That it is. He looks over and it sort of like draws your eye over to the 4 individuals who are sitting there. There are 3 humans and 1 elf, all men. There is a guy who is probably in his like late 50s. He still looks fairly capable, but he's kind of, you'd guess, a little past his prime. He's got a club, a shield, chainmail, and he's got a spyglass. Although he, the way he kind of squints at you as you walk in makes you think that the spyglass may less be for scouting and reconnoitering and more for, you know, reading up close. There is another human who has a similarly armed club, shield, chainmail, who he looks, he's probably in about late 20s, and he looks pretty thick and solid, but he doesn't, I think, Huxley, you can tell from your background, like, this guy's not a trained soldier. This is a guy who probably has been in a few scraps, but really isn't, like, you know, militia trained or knight trained or anything like that. There is an elf who carries a longsword and leather armor, who's got the dark hair that is characteristic of the Thornswild forest. And he has a strange kind of like tattoo or brand on his right cheek. And then the last one is another human who wields a hand axe and shield. He is, his name is Rothmoor, and he has the other 2 guys look like they're sort of common folk with, you know, mixed blood. This guy seems much more pure northern stock, long, you know, blonde hair pulled into a kind of a ponytail, and he has a string of dried orc ears around his neck. At least you hope they're orc ears and not, you know, something more civilized. Yeah. So what do you guys do? There's all 4 of these guys kind of stand up, and Manx is kind of, "Are you looking to hire?" This is the guy with the spyglass.
Well, I'm going to take a look at the elf with the brand on his face, and I want to see if I recognize that from my underworld.
Sure.
Lore.
Okay, so that's an excellent point, Jim. So what you can do is, and this is one way that this differs from previous editions of Pathfinder, and D&D 3.5. Anybody can try a lore check. So you don't have to have skill training in it. I like it because it gives everybody an opportunity to maybe know some little tidbit about things. Let me just, I said I was going to open your character sheets and then I didn't actually do it. So one sec. All right, Bargo, let's see here. That to me sounds like a society check, which you are awesome at. Wow. Oh yeah. So that marking is an Exiles brand. Now that you look at it, it looks like a stylized thorn.
Okay.
So this is someone who's been cast out by the Thornswild elves, and that's, I think, as much as you know with how well you did.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, Huxley, what do you think of our fighters here? Our fighters that are wannabe fighters.
The first one we saw, the one on the left, clearly looks like He's getting past his prime. Second's an amateur. This is his evening job. I'm going for the last guy. Northern lad. He looks like he could be capable, but his decoration could get us in some trouble if we run into some orcs.
All right. So we're going for one. Is that, what do you think? Just one?
Myself, I'm liking that elf. He's been kicked out of his village or society, so he's been living on his own for a while. He knows how to survive.
Can we stretch to 2?
I think Huxley's the one who's the most skint at this point.
I can afford him for 30 minutes.
I'm tempted by 2. I'm tempted, but we're going to need to score on this one.
I'm feeling good about this.
All right. Let's try 2.
Okay. So the way that hiring works, and this is not something that's in Pathfinder, it's just an adaptation of an old school thing. If you're trying to hire somebody with who's got character levels, you do actually have to enter into negotiations with them. Fortunately, these schmucks, they'll take any job that's offered to them. So what we're going to do is we're going to role play very briefly your hiring of them, and then we'll make a diplomacy check, and that will dictate what their loyalty is. So whether they fucking book and run at the first sign of trouble, or whether they'll fight to the last, for you guys. So who would like to take the lead on it? And one other way that this differs from previous editions of D&D is you crit a lot more often in this, or you have the potential at least to do it. Critical hits happen not only on a nat 20, they also happen when you beat a difficulty by 10. So it also means that critical failures are when you fail by 10. So if say your difficulty number was a 15 and you roll a 5, that's a crit failure.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so it makes it a little more swingy, but I think it makes it more interesting too.
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason I wanted to go through that is because someone can help, or multiple people can help as well. If you're going to aid someone with it, just tell me what you're doing, and you're going to make a difficulty 15 check. If you succeed, you get whoever is the primary person trying to negotiate gets +2. If you fail, no harm, no foul. If you critically fail, it's -4. You've done something to piss them off. If you critically succeed, you get +4 to the roll.
And there is a requirement for assisting?
No, not at all. You just tell me what you're going to do to try and assist. I have allowed someone to use perform because they did a little dance to try and impress the hirelings. He also critically succeeded on it too, so it did work.
Let's see.
Who'd
Now,
like to
did
take
my
the
society check identify for me which particular village the elf might have come from?
Yep, I buy that. Sure.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and start chatting him up about people in the village. Not pushy, but just kind of like ask him how long he's been out on his own and try and get a feel for that kind of stuff.
Yep, absolutely. Go ahead. I think you got +5 to your roll. Ooh, okay. So you start, the analogy I'm thinking of is like the college student who knows an awful lot about something and then talks to someone who's actually from, like trying to tell them about their place they're from. Did you know that in Nigeria you can do blah, 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 blah? So you're sort of like just offloading a bunch of like tidbits that you know about the Thorns Wild Elves. And this guy's getting more and more, no, he still needs to get a job, but you can see he's getting a little pissed, and it's probably because he's in exile from there. So like all you're doing is reminding him of the shit that he's never going to be able to go back.
They got the best drinks over there. At this
it's so awesome. Oh my god, the most comfortable leaf beds. Do you know those leaf beds? And he's just like,
man, I was just there a month ago. Oh my god, the girl's there.
So you guys can see
that pretty one, the blonde. Yeah, her.
Bargle is clearly making friends here. So it'll be either Huxley or Ruggin who is taking the lead to make the roll. Someone else want to try and aid?
Yeah, I think I'll step up then.
Okay.
I'll step up to him and say, "Ah, you're a likely-looking lad. You clearly got some service out of your axe there. You got a story to tell about those orc ears?"
Okay, so give me. Let's see here. So it sounds to me like what you're trying to rely on is your sort of like brotherhood in arms kind of thing.
Exactly.
And, okay, cool. So give me a lore warfare check. I think you're. Let's see here.
So I'm a +1.
+1. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see how you do here. Yep. That did. Oh, you know what? You had the slash on the wrong side.
Aha. Whoops.
Nice. Okay, 11. All right. It's not quite good enough, but he's not pissed off the way that you know. But so you say, and he sort of like tries to saddle up. You're definitely taller than this guy, but he sort of like tries to stand up to his full height. He says, "Yes, each has a name, each has a story behind it, written in blood and carved with my axe." And he holds up his axe, and it's really not that impressive an axe. It's really like a glorified hatchet. But he does say, now that you're closer in, though, he does have like there's some healed cuts and stuff like that are on his face. So like this guy does clearly he's been out and in the world, but he's not he's a little more green than what he puts on.
I'm starting to think we should hire the guy that gave him those.
Yeah. Yeah. Are those orcs looking for jobs or? Okay, then Ruggin, it falls to you. And again, like you're gonna be able to hire these guys. It'll just go to what their loyalty is. So would you kindly give me a little bit of role playing, and then we're gonna make a diplomacy check.
I was thinking of. Tell me if I was thinking of looking for the one that that is the most distracted of the two.
Yep. Of the two of them? Okay.
Of the two our two choices, and lifting something off of them with a bit of sleight of hand.
Okay.
While they're being engaged by my comrades, and then offering it back to them as a show of our expertise.
Okay, sure.
We're no rank amateurs. Oh, here's your dagger back.
Yeah.
That kind of.
Sure. Give me a thievery check. I will give you a +2 because I like that plan. And then whatever your natural bonus is.
It's probably going to be the elf because I'm keep telling him about this blonde elf girl from his village. It's probably his cousin because he's just getting redder and redder in the face.
You're just like, Susan? So would you kindly give me a thievery check? So you get +7 in total. Wow.
Cool. Ooh, I needed that 7.
Okay, so
dicey.
that is actually not going to be.
So now we've insulted him about his sister and now been caught with our hands in his pants. Great.
Right.
I see how you seek to gain treasure. Okay, so I will remind you, you guys do have 2 hero points. So you could spend a hero point to re-roll that if you like. Or you can just take the consequences of being caught.
No, why not? Let's get it started.
And if you fail this, oh shit! I'll refund both hero points. That's fucking great. So you know what? You take it off both of them. I'm going to say with an nat 20, you're easily able to take something of consequence off of it. I think maybe it's let's just change it and say it's orc ears around his belt. He's got. He's not around his neck like an orc ear necklace. Vietnam War style. He's got a strand of them dried on his belt. And he, as he's talking to you, Huxley, he's like, each one of these is carved in where did it go? And you look over.
I say, now listen, boys. I said, this is no amateur group here. And to show you our appreciation of you joining up, I've got bonuses for both of you. And then I hand him the ring of ears and say, now, that's the expertise you're dealing with here. Prepare yourselves. And I give whatever I took from the other guy. And I said, Let's get some treasure, shall we?
I think it's a lock of hair from Susan.
Yeah.
So he, the two of them are blown away by your competence, and they're just like, oh. So I'll give him. What is your constitution or your charisma bonus?
Charisma bonus. So that's based off my I'm -1.
Minus one. You are not a charming guy. Hey, motherfuckers, you're coming with us.
Yeah. Good point. Good point. I need to dial in on Ruggin's charisma here. I'll have to adjust my.
Okay, but you know what? These are rough and ready men. You are speaking their language. You know.
You know what I probably said was something more like, "If you don't follow us right, I'll be stealing more, you motherfuckers." Okay, let's go.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, you guys are able to. You're able to hire them. They seem for all you can tell that they're going to be quite loyal. And unless you guys want to do anything else in town, we'll assume that you've got your stuff. Now, the couple of other things to consider with the barrows that you've heard about both before you came here and when you got here. Some of the barrows are buried, which requires hours of backbreaking work to dig out the entrance. Some of them are covered with a like a flagstone or a sealing stone that requires you to take sledgehammers to it to break. That doesn't take quite as long as the digging, but excuse me, it does make a lot of noise, which can draw the attention of the locals, either in the Barrowmoor or the hordes of undead that lurk around the Barrow mounds. I'm going to assume that you've just offloaded a sledgehammer to each of your hirelings. The way encumbrance works in this now is it's very streamlined. You have weapons or items that are either they have a bulk score, which is how, roughly how heavy and how difficult they are to carry. They can be light, which means 10 of those make up one bulk, but only when you've got 10. Or there's ones that just don't have, like sheets of paper do not have a weight. It's assumed that you're not going to carry enough for it to be of consequence. The reason that's important is because you can carry 5 plus your strength score in bulk before you become encumbered. Once you become encumbered, you're slower. You take some penalties to your attack rolls. If you've got double your bulk, you're immobile. So if there's anything that drains strength, that can affect that. Sledgehammers weigh 2 bulk. And Huxley, you are a very strong and capable man, but you might want to offload some of your shit to one of your hirelings because you basically are encumbered with carrying all your crap. I think the thing you've been dreaming of is a pack mule.
I'm showing with 10 on my bulk.
Yeah, so if you got 9, you can carry 9 without any kind of encumbrance. At 10, you are encumbered.
Okay.
I'm going to pick up some chalk in town because nothing says stop myself from getting lost in a tomb like a couple pieces of chalk.
Good call. Excellent.
Nice.
You meet with, what is his name? Billworth Turgan at Turgan's Trade Goods. And in the movie version of the campaign, he is played by Bob Hoskins.
Nice.
So you walk in and he's like, oh, hello there. Welcome to Turgan's Goods. What are you looking for?
I'm looking for some supplies. You got any chalk?
Chalk. You're not an artist, are you?
Nah. I just need to make a couple of notations on some stone, stuff like that.
Oh, an adventurer, are you?
I dabble.
Dabble. Well, hopefully you get more pro before you head out into the moors. Certainly lost a lot out there. We don't take credit, mind you. And he offers you some chalk and gets that. I'm not really concerned about the cost of that at this point. Anything else you guys need to pick up before you head out?
Let me see here.
Kev, is there a dragon available? I want a dragon mount. No dragon mounts.
I'm in here. We'll get some rope, hammer, and pittance in case we have to go spelunking.
I have 50 feet of rope.
Me too. And a grappling hook.
Yep, I have that too.
Oh, hey, you know what'd be good? Some torches.
I think you guys each
Got
have
10 of them.
5.
I have 10.
Oh, there you go.
Apparently.
I have 0.
Oh, but you have the light spell, do you not?
I do.
Yeah, cantrips. So cantrips, Jim, sorry, I should have said this before we went live. I'm not sure if you've played the first edition Pathfinder before, but cantrips you can cast as many times as you want.
Mhm.
You can cast them until the day goes, as long as the day is long. That's not a saying. That's terrible. Anyway, I'm going to bail out of the sentence. You can cast them as many times as you like.
Pull up.
Exactly. This isn't a backpack; it's a parachute. Reverse. Okay, so you can cast your cantrips. You can prepare. I believe it's 4 per day, and you can maybe it's 5 actually, and you can cast those as many times as you like. Light, you just need to put it on an object, and it stays as long as you like.
Okay.
Anything else?
Nothing comes to mind.
Okay.
Seem to have a good set here.
Now, one thing
we want the 10-foot pole.
I love the 10-foot pole. That's so OSR.
It really is. He almost says it apologetically. Do we want a 10-foot pole?
I think the one consideration with the 10-foot pole is that I believe it's one bulk. So it's
that's pack mule stuff for sure.
Yeah.
Well, he's looking at the 10-foot pole. I look next to it to the 11-foot pole. I'm like, hey.
Yes.
What's the advantage of the 11? It's one more.
Okay. Let's see here. What's climbing? So a climbing kit would include like the what are they, pythons and whatever. That's 5 silver pieces and 1 bulk. If anyone wants to pick that up, they're welcome to. Anything else you guys want?
What was that, Kevin? That was for climbing?
That's for a climbing kit. Climbing kit includes 50 feet of hemp rope, some pulleys, a dozen pythons, hammer, grappling hook, and 1 set of crampons.
We're
if we're going to be out a few days, we might want some food.
True.
So the actual Barrowmaze itself is only 4 hours of travel into the Barrowmoor.
Mm-hmm.
So to reach the mountains, it's an easy day trip. And what you've heard is strong recommendations to not spend the night out there.
Mm.
So actually, you know what? Let me. I got some visual aids I loaded yesterday. I forgot. So here is sort of what. There's sort of Helix at night.
Oh, nice.
That mist is something that permeates the Barrowmoor. So it in the evenings it comes into the Helix even though it's a couple hours travel away from it. That is, of course, the Barrowmoor itself.
That does look
eerily.
inviting.
What's that?
That does look inviting.
Yes, it is. Come travel, scenic Barrowmoor, and die. And then, of course, now the mountains in the background you could ignore in this, but I like the visual for the stuff in the foreground. That's sort of how I picture the Barrow Mounds, because it's like miles of basically crypts. And then this is camping in the Barrowmoor.
Look at those cowards.
Yes.
They're thinking to themselves, you only move the headstones.
So unless there's anything else you guys want to do, I think we can head out into the Barrowmoor. So the way this works is for each hex you go into, I'm going to make I need you guys to dictate a couple of things. First, I need to know marching order. So you guys hired, get the names down here. You hired Rothmoor, the big northerner, and you hired Kalas, the elf.
Rothmoor.
How's his name spelled?
Rothmoor is Rothmore.
And Kalas?
Kalas is Kalas.
Callus, I suggest you take point. I'll be right behind you.
Okay. He shrugs and says, "You're paying the bills," so he makes his way off. He's got leather armor and no shield, so I'm sure. things will go well for
And a red
Callus.
and red leather armor, I take it.
Exactly. Okay. So
Well,
what
maybe we have Rothmore in the back then. Keep him taking up the caboose.
Okay.
Sounds good.
He's keeping a steady eye out for possible ears.
Right, I'll be right in front of him.
All right. I'll be in the middle.
Okay. Okay. So one of the things that is particularly eerie about the Barrowmoor is how silent it is. You guys had heard a bunch of stories and whatnot of the dangers lurking in the Barrowmoor, but as you're making your way out, you get past the last stretches of farmland and you start making your way into the moor itself. Let's swap over here. Something a little more atmospheric. And there's our guys. Look at it right on top. Inadvertent good call on the DM's part. I'll get rid of those other guys. So as you guys are making your way, you find yourself very quickly surrounded by the choking and claustrophobic feel of the Barrowmoor. The moor has dangerous bogs of like still and stagnant water. There is reeds that stretch as high, or weeds that stretch as high as like 6-7 feet tall. They have to kind of hack your way through. You've heard that there are dangers lurking in addition to some kind of, they call them blood seekers, but they're kind of like a combination of horsefly and mosquito, but it's about the size of a house cat. You've heard of giant leeches that can drain a man dry in a matter of seconds. And of course, the ever-threatening reach of the undead that stagger out from the barrow mounds. But the most unsettling thing is just how quiet this place is. No birds, no insects, just the sound of Huxley's armor kind of rattling. Actually, and Rothmoor's armor as well, too. He's got chain, which is quite noisy. So you're very quickly find yourself stuck or coated in muck and mud as you're slogging your way through this ankle-deep pools of water and unforeseen or unseen roots and things like that. I'm gonna make a okay. So it looks like actually, Ruggin, you're trained in survival.
Yes.
Let's see how you're doing. Okay. And we'll roll for random encounter. Okay. So first 2 hours of travel into the Barrowmoor is largely uneventful. And you guys are actually not following the route that most people take. You go in for a bit and then you start heading further north. And that's when Callus tells you, Ruggin, wait, this is the route that I've heard is up here. But what you know, Ruggin, is that the Guardian Barrow that you're looking for is actually at the northern tip of the western side of the Barrow Mounds.
Is it the survival skill that would be used for map reading?
Probably, yeah.
Well, I'm the man with the map then. Very good. I said, no. This is where our treasure lies. Up here.
Okay. So you continue on in that direction. Let's see here. Yeah, you're absolutely confident, as weird and unnerving as this place is. You still are quite confident you're going in the right direction. And sure enough, after about another 3 hours of travel, slogging through this, and it stinks, and it's stuffy, and it's stagnant because there's no wind really blowing through here as well. You finally reach this point, and there, of course, is that perpetual haze and fog that hangs around this place, muffling the sounds. But thankfully, you make your way through the last of the fog, and all of you see approaching is this high, looming figure in the distance. And as you step out, it suddenly seems to be like revealed by the dissipating fog, a tall mound.
Ooh.
Now, around this, this is not in the actual Barrowmaze or Barrow Mounds themselves. This is something that is separate from the from the rest of the barrow mound or barrow mounds proper. And this is consistent with what you heard. The loudmouth adventuring group that was bragging about the other one, they said too, it seemed to be found on a separate kind of, not island, but like a dry high point in the Barrowmoor, surrounded by the encroaching swamp. And it was sort of set up at the very northeastern edge of the Barrowmoor. So there's sort of two set at the corners of the barrow mounds, and then two presumably at the southern tip as well. And as you walk out, this one, it sounds like what you heard before, but one difference is that the encroaching black water of the Barrowmoor seems to have almost covered one side. So it looks like kind of a like an off-center hill, if you will. So there's a mound going up, and then there's a very it sort of slopes down. It's more of like a peaked hill within a sharp angle that goes down, rather than a smooth, equal 45-degree kind of hill. As with the other one you heard about, there is some brackish water that surrounds this. You have to stomp through that to get to the moor itself. And let me see here. There is no entrance visible. So as you walk out, you can hear Rothmoor say, "Whoa," as he looks up. What do you guys want to do?
Well, gentlemen, it seems like we've arrived.
Indeed.
Does the map indicate anything else of value about the location?
It has one word. It has there's a couple of words that have been transcribed in it that you don't recognize, but there is the largest word on it is the word Wigo, W-I-G-O.
With no context?
No context.
1
second here, man.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, so
the map didn't offer anything?
You're looking at this scroll, and so I just rolled a Arcana check for you, and I rolled a 19 for you. You're looking at this thing, and as you turn it over, maybe it's because of its exposure to this moist environment or something like that, but you've just now noticed that it appears that there are a couple flecks of ink that seem to have stuck to the back side of this map. And it doesn't make out anything, but what your conclusion is that this may have actually originally contained other pages. And that other pages were rolled up with this. Some of the ink transferred, but you were only, whatever you purchased was only this map, not those other pages.
I was taken. Where are the other pages?
I will cast light on the tip of my staff and hold it under the page, under the map, to see if I can get the traces of ink to show through a little better.
Sure. Okay. Cool. I love that. Why don't you give me a let's give just give me a flat roll. So it's I'm going to say it's got about a 25% chance of working. So if you roll a 16 or higher, that'll work. Flat rolls are another new thing in this game. Okay, so no, unfortunately there wasn't enough that transferred over your. But I do like that idea, so I'll give you a hero point for that. And you're.
Hey, let me roll a hero point on that.
Oh, to re-roll. Yeah, sweet. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So it'll cost you 2 to re-roll. So you do get a refund of one of those 2. Because, well, hold on. What's your Arcana bonus?
+5.
+5. Okay, I know. Unfortunately, that's still not quite. Wait, hold on. Ignore me. I said it was a flat roll, and I'm trying to give you more bonuses. This is how much your DM roots for you. So unfortunately,
the only thing I can make out is info about Susan.
Yeah, really. You're choosing to. It's like one of those hidden pictures. Finally, what's his name? Cal's is like, "That's it," and jumps on top of you. No. So you guys, yeah, you're certain that there was some writing in there, and there's tantalizing hints at the at the shape of the letters, but you just can't make any. It's a frustratingly vague marking, so you're not sure what else may have been included with this.
Sounds like we've got to find the rest of that book.
Bargle, what'd you find?
Oh, I found some dirty limerick about an elf girl named Susan.
That doesn't help us. Dumb.
Okay. So what would you guys like to do then? It does appear
I
that
suggest that Callus and I move up to the lower end of this little peak and start looking up it.
Sure.
So we'll squelch over.
Okay.
See what we can see.
Okay. I love the idea of splitting the party. That is terrific.
How far is that split?
You guys can still probably stay in view. Like you'll be slightly slightly kind of concealed by the mists, but you'll still be within sight. So you and Callus kind of slog your way over. This is about the water is about maybe knee deep at this point. You slog your way to the far side and begin making your way around. You get to sort of like I'm assuming you're not like walking out into the water. You're trying to stay in as much dry ground as you can.
Absolutely.
Okay. And what you see as you get to sort of the far side is that there is right down near the surface of the water, there appears to be a slightly askew bronze door set into the side of the mound. Now, this is something that had you not gone up and close to see it, it's likely you would have missed it because there is a bit of an like overgrown overhang. There is weeds and grass and shit that is sort of like draped down over part of the door. So it's only really like 2/3 of it is visible. The door itself is tarnished and stained with age. And on the door itself are a bunch of very fine tracings that make out some kind of language, you would guess. It is not one that you understand, though.
So I'll holler out, lads, I found a door. Who here is good at ancient languages?
Oh, I might be able to take a look at that. I head on over.
Okay. So you slosh through the water. Your robe is drenched by the time you get to the far side. Ruggin, are you and Rothmore coming over as well?
Coming over, but they're going to stay a little bit behind to keep an eye on the perimeter while they're focused on the door.
Okay.
He's working on his poem.
That's right.
Okay, so the Ruggin's keeping an eye out for everyone. Now that's a really actually we'll deal with that when we get to encounter time. Okay, so let's see here. Bargle.
I'm liking to think I might be able to use a cult to see what I can figure out.
Yes, that's a good point. So one of the neat things is in this edition, they made a difference between the difference they've drawn between arcane magic and arcana and occult magic and occultism is that arcane magic is kind of like cutting edge, state of the art magical theory. It's, the spells that you learn as a wizard. It's, crafting magical items and things like that. Occultism is sort of like the weird forgotten lore. It's the forgotten shit from like Lovecraftian entities or from lost civilizations or things like that. It's also interesting that in this edition, bards are occult casters, not arcane casters, which I think fits thematically because they're more like hedge mages. All right, so let's make a check here for you. You study that. Oh, man, 19. Fucking hell. So you look at this.
Nice work, Kevin.
This is where my dice rolls are working in your favor. This way it'll hopefully smooth it over when my fucking nat 20s and my attacks from monsters.
That's right.
That's one other thing I'll say too is in this particular campaign, to keep with the OSR thing, I don't fudge dice. So whatever comes, it comes. That way you guys are not, there's never any concern about there being DM bullshittery that's causing things to happen. So you look at the stuff and you're looking around, and when the three of you first started looking into these guardian barrows, I think, Bargo, you probably did a little bit of asking around, a little bit of reading, and what you found was that there was this there's a priest in Ironguard Mott who's been trying to build a temple to Arcantrell, or a church rather. His name is Hixor, and you ended up getting him chatting. It turns out he's a bit of a chatty Cathy, so you got him talking about this stuff. And what he told you was this whole story about the 4 guardian barrows, and about how there were 4 champions who apparently fought some kind of massive evil, and they defeated that evil, but then they agreed, each of them, to an eternal vigilance over the place from which that evil sprang. You're guessing that that's the Barrowmaze. He suggested it may have been the now dead god Nurgle. That was the great evil that was put to rest. And looking at this and hearing the stories of the 4 heroes, you've heard that. I don't have the notes in front of me. One of them, I don't remember who the other ones were. One of them is Sigmar. One of them is, I don't remember. But you do know that one of the names that he mentioned over that boozy chat was Vigo. And you can see the stylized markings from this dead language, a language that no one has written for thousands of years. There's the name Vigo written on there. You are fairly certain this is the tomb of Vigo.
All right, where his name is, I'm going to lightly tap it with the end of my staff.
Okay. Dong. You hit that, and then as you go in, I think that, did you prepare Detect Magic as a cantrip?
I did.
Okay, cool. Would you give me, because you rolled so well, give me a Arcana check, please. Oh, awesome. Okay, so you're... Sorry, I hung out there for a second. You're about to tap the barrier, and then your mind, being as sinister as it is, goes towards like, wait, they might try something. So you gesture. What does it look like when you cast your spells, by the way?
When I cast Detect Magic, I just kind of like put my fingers to my head. I hold my hand out, and like visible sonar waves emit from my hand. Nice.
Okay, cool. Does it have a somatic and verbal component, or is it just... Let
me see here. Somatic and verbal.
Somatic and verbal. Okay, so you put your hand to your head, you gesture out with your staff, and you say one arcane word, and then it gestures out. Or the thing pulses out, and what you see as it hits the, and maybe only you see this, but it hits the wall, and then there's this arcing of like black lightning around it. Someone has placed some kind of curse on this door. So you stop and you draw your staff back, and you sort of nod knowingly, go, "Haha, well played, invisible opponent."
Nice. Boys. We're in for a little bit more than we expected. This door, it's cursed.
With that 19 as well, too, I'll let you know that this type of magic is clearly necromantic. That's inconsistent with the legends of Vigo and the other champions. They are not... they seem to have been like champions of light. There's probably some actual faith and God and whatnot that's now forgotten to time, and people that are lost amongst the bones of history. But you're certain that whatever this thing is, it's either a vast perversion of some existing enchantment, or it's something new.
All right, I have an idea. I'll run it past you. I also prepared Disrupt Undead. Normally it targets a creature, but can I channel this positive energy into the door itself?
Yeah, I love that. Okay. Yeah, give me another. So what I'm going to do is basically sub in your Arcana check instead of the thievery thing you would normally use. But let's see. So is Disrupt Undead. What's the components for that?
That is somatic and verbal.
Okay, cool. So you're going to do another gesture and description, or a gesture and invocation. Give me another Arcana check, please. Oh, nice. Okay, so you sort of smile. You tell everyone that that's there, and then you give this like really authoritative command in your magical tongue. You gesture with your hand. There's a flash of brilliant radiant energy, and now you guys all see that electricity kind of like trace across the door, bright white light. As then it kind of as the last of the electricity hits the edges of the door, there's this kind of sound of a sigh, like that kind of echoes out. You sense one more time, Bargle, and there is no magic enchanting this door any longer.
What's happened, Bargle?
Now I use the tip of my staff, and I'm like pool cueing it, just pushing the door on the WeGo spot.
Okay, so you push on the WeGo spot. It's solid, and it appears that it's all traced. There is a door. There is like a handle on this, and there appears to be a lock as well.
Right.
And
look at it. Peek inside the lock hole.
Okay. And ear seeker bites your eye. No.
Can I check for any chicanery on this lock?
Absolutely, yeah. So it'll take you. So basically, what it'll in this edition, it kind of makes it more. I don't know if you guys are familiar with 4th edition, but 4th edition had these things called skill challenges, and it was basically like it was chains of skill checks that you had to get a certain number of successes before a number of failures happened. And this is sort of reflecting you kind of messing around with your lock picks and carefully adding new tools in and shit like that. So it will take you a little bit of time to do that. Which means on a metagame context, I get to roll a random encounter roll while you're doing this. So would you kindly, Sean, give me a thievery check?
Now, can I provide him aid by I'm using the light from the tip of my staff to make sure he has proper lighting to view what he's doing?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So you get +2 to your thievery check. Huxley, what are you doing during this time? And what are you commanding the troops to do?
We'll get our 2 sidekicks will make a small perimeter around the door while these 2 work on it.
Okay.
I'll step out into the water a bit. So. Okay.
Bargle, that was some clever stuff, but stand aside and let a proper burglar take a look at that.
Sure thing. Here, let me give you some light here.
Excellent.
Okay, so it's 10, and your thievery
+7.
Whoa, yeah, okay.
+2.
Okay, so that's
5 + 2. I already included that, actually.
Yeah. Okay, so that's 1 success. So yeah, you're starting to go around, and one of the you sort of I think picture this as if you think of it as like puzzle solving. Your first thing you're trying to figure out when you're picking your lock is what's the picture going to be, and you've been poking around a little bit to get a sense of what the mechanism is like inside, and you're making some progress. And you're like, yes, that's of course. No, move the light over here a bit, and yes, okay. Give me another roll, please.
Oh.
So with a crit, that's your second nat 20 so far too, isn't it?
It is, as a matter of fact. I'm getting warm.
So while you're doing that, you're going along, and then you realize, oh, this is using a standard tumbler, whatever mechanism. This is something that they teach dwarven children, in the locksmith's guild. So you quickly just do and hit some things, and you hear a click from inside. You pull up the tools.
Before the click, I look over at the wizard. So I'm like, it clicks when I'm looking at him.
That's awesome. Okay, so click.
And it's annoying. It's annoying.
And you carefully place your thieves' tools back into the leather pouch, roll it back up, and place those away. Huxley, as you've been keeping watch out too, you think once or twice that you see things moving just beyond your eyesight, concealed in the mists, but nothing comes of it. Again, the sound of even like when you shift your weight from one foot to the other as your armor scrapes up against itself sounds deafeningly loud compared to the eerie silence and the oppressive lack of sound in the Barrowmoor. But what does Bargle say when he sees Ruggin give that smirk as the lock is opened?
Good job. And then I turn towards the others and I raise my voice just enough to carry to them, but not enough to really carry across the Barrowmoor. It's open. We're in.
Okay. So let's talk about the door first. So you is one of you guys going to open the door then?
Yeah, Bartle will go ahead and open the door.
Yeah, let me ask, did my check, did it also check for traps? Was that part of it or no?
It did not. Would you like to check for traps?
I would.
Okay. So that'd be a secret roll by your sinister DM. Fucking nat 20. Geez, Sean, you're even affecting my dice. Check it out.
Nice.
So yeah, you look this thing over. There's no physical traps. It appears that well, actually, you know what? With a nat 20, there were traps that were in here. That were clearly part of what the manufacturers of the tomb had built, but they've all been disabled.
So I put my hand on the door handle, and Ruggin's like, "Wait a second," and I quickly pull the door open like 5 inches and just look over and give him a big grin. Away.
Enjoy.
Okay. So Callus and Rothmore move over towards the door. We've got Ruggin and Bargle up front, then Callus and Rothmore, and then Huxley carrying up the rear, a javelin in his hand. The door, if you pull it further open, it screeches on its hinges, but it doesn't move as a door like this that's been sealed for however many centuries and also like has shifted in the earth. You would expect would be a lot harder to pull open, but you're able to relatively, with some screeching of the hinges, you're able to pull the thing out and open. And what it exposes is a 10-foot wide corridor where there are a set of stairs that lead down to a landing about 15 feet away. And Bargle, your light extends down that distance, and you can see that from that landing, there are stairs that then kind of they're a bit askew. It leads further down into the barrow. There is an overwhelming smell of mildew and water coming out. There is stagnant water.
Okay, I'm going to hold my staff. What's the height of the corridor?
The height of the corridor is probably, once you get past the door, it's a bit inconsistent. There's some of the ceiling has been broken, as if like this whole mound has shifted over the centuries. But the highest point is probably about 10 feet tall, and the lowest point is probably about maybe 7.5. Like, so there's plenty of clearance for you guys to make your way in here.
All right. Being an underworld seedy type of person, I'm going to hold the lit portion of my staff. I'm actually holding it high up so that the light source is high up. That way, if anything in the dark sees the light and immediately attacks it, they're actually aiming at the ceiling above our heads.
Sure. Okay.
Nice.
This is the precaution.
Okay. So you're holding up the staff at sort of the highest point you can. I'll remind you guys, anytime you guys feel like one of your colleagues has a good idea or good role playing, feel free to give the pitch for hero points. That'll be in your capable hands.
Yeah, I think for Bargle's work on the door, for one thing, the curse, and in addition to the lantern near the light, the lantern-like light near the ceiling.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
So if you guys remember, you got a max of 3. So yeah, that's fine by me.
What do we each have currently? Oh, wise GM.
That I don't know. Yes, you started with 2.
Okay, got it. Very good.
So then however many you gained or spent or whatever, those are it'll fluctuate.
Very good.
But okay, so is the what is the marching order going in? Are you carrying the same order with Callus up front? You can fit 2 by 2 in this corridor.
How far does the light carry?
The light carries. I don't remember. I think
it goes 20-foot radius, like a torch.
Okay, so it's as good as a torch. No point in starting one of them.
Okay. So you are making your way down, and yeah, are you? Okay, I guess first off is the marching order for inside the corridor.
I suggest that I take the lead with Rothmoor, with Callus at the rear.
Okay.
It's a good thought. I will throw out the potential possibility of me stealthing on point. What do you think? What's the which way to go?
That might be a good idea.
Yeah, do that.
And Ruggin, you've got dark vision, don't you?
I do, as a matter of fact. Good point.
Mm-hmm.
It's so natural, I didn't even think to mention it. It goes.
So I'll be like second in line towards the back.
Okay.
And that's another reason of holding my staff up high, is so that those in front of me have their way illuminated.
Okay. So we got Ruggin taking point, then Huxley, then Rothmoor, then Bargle, then Callus.
Yeah.
Okay. So Ruggin, you make your way down. How far ahead of the group do you want to go?
That is the question. Well, with my knowledge in stealth, what do you think? Well, what is probably a good distance for that to be worthwhile without getting too far away? Do you think 20 feet? Is that too?
Well, bearing in mind that myself and Rothmoor sound like an ironmongery store falling down some stairs.
Yes.
Right.
Who's dropping a box full of cutlery down the stairs?
25 feet? I'm feeling up.
One way to think about it is in a 6-second round, you could take the stride action to move your movement 3 times, because you have 3 actions per round. So your move is what, a 20 or 25?
My
feet.
move. What is my move?
20. So 60 feet, you could race 60 feet back in a single round.
Okay.
Now,
I guess.
Callus has dark vision, maybe as an elf, I presume.
I think they got low light, actually.
Yeah.
So they need. He can see a little further than what you guys do, but he can't actually see in perfect darkness the way a dwarf can. I'm gonna double check that, make sure I'm not cheating. Fucking cheating, DM. Got low light.
I think you're right. Yeah. I will go. Probably foolish, but I will go 40 feet. 40 feet in front.
I mean, excellent plan. Okay. So
gonna need a new dwarf.
So you guys step your way in and make your way down to the first landing. Callus sort of, as you guys are going in, because he's right at the rear, he says, the door, do we leave it open or closed?
Let's close it behind us, but not completely. Let's leave it open just a crack.
Okay.
That way we don't have any trouble trying to reopen it.
Okay. So bring it back. I'm assuming that you can stuff something in, there's probably like driftwood or some kind of rotten shit you could put in the door if you want. Did anyone actually buy a climbing kit?
Yes.
So you could, if you really want to go extreme to make sure that door doesn't shut, you could put one of those pythons in the crick.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay.
In addition to that, I'm going to rip up a little bit of grass from outside.
Yeah.
And I'm going to place it on the top of the door so that if the door is opened by anyone else than us, it'll fall and be on the ground. That way I can know someone's been messing around the outside when we come back.
Yep. You've been traveling the Barrowmoor for like 5 hours now. You've not felt a single breeze. So you're not worried about there being wind that's going to blow it off the top. So yeah, that's fine by me. Okay. So you make your way in and you go down to that first landing. And then the second that set of stairs goes down further, Ruggin, you take the lead, and you're walking in the darkness ahead. And is everyone else sort of like slowly but steadily making their way down, and then leaving it for Ruggin to call out if you guys need to halt, or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
react.
I'll have some. Actually, yeah. So I guess your light. How far does your light reach again, Bargle?
20-foot radius.
20 feet radius. I'm twice that in front of you. So I guess you probably couldn't. I'm not sure. Oh, well, maybe the elf could see hand signals. I could give a couple of 2 or 3 simple hand signals for just go, stop, watching, and the elf would be able to see it, even though I'm beyond the torch range for everyone else.
Yeah, like basically, I'll let the elf see another like double the radius of the light. Yeah, I'll say the dim light that he can see beyond that. So if you guys, I think you need to move him a little further up.
Let's swap Careless and Rothmore around then.
Okay.
And I'll be trying to be stealthy up there, obviously.
Okay. Let's get a stealth check here. Oh shit. Jack die. Okay. So you're making your way down, and Ruggin, as you're walking on these steps, you can see that several of them have split and cracked over from the shifting of the earth beneath them, but it does seem to steadily lead down. There are a couple points, in particular in that first landing, where there are pools of stagnant water that have a like oily kind of sheen to them. You see that this first set of stairs seems to lead down at least 70 feet. And as you're making your way down, so that's it's about 20 feet down to the first landing, and then it's another 70 feet down this twisting or not twisting, but like sort of uneven stairwell. As you're making your way down, Ruggin and the rest of you, you also can tell that the ambient temperature is dropping. Now, unfortunately, for those of you who are joining us from the US, I don't know Fahrenheit. I only know Celsius. So sorry for that. But it drops it probably drops about 10 to 15 degrees Celsius. So I don't know if that means anything to you guys. But
it's it gets temperature.
So basically, I mean, if you picture like it's the difference between like a day where you could go without a jacket to a day where like you really should have a sweater and jacket.
Okay, so in my case, it'd be like the low 50s.
There you go. So there we go. We got to translating from Celsius to Fahrenheit. A key part of any gaming stream is localization.
I say that'd be about 10 degrees Celsius right now.
Okay, so you're making your way down to near the bottom, Ruggin, and what you can, as you're going down, you can hear that there's an eerie echoing of the footsteps from your colleagues behind you, and it suggests to you that there's a really big chamber up ahead. And sure enough, you get to the bottom, you walk out, and looking around, you can see I think your sights extend 60 feet, and you can see that there is basically a massive circular room here with a sweeping ceiling that actually goes up beyond your as far as you could see. There are in the walls. So this whole room is a little disorienting because the whole room itself seems to be at a slight like 30-degree angle, and the room itself seems to have a massive kind of crack running down the center, and that's where the part of the room has settled in one direction, some in the other. On your right side, there's a massive pool of water, and you can see just the top, the lintel of a corridor, suggesting that a corridor extends down to the left under the water. To your right, there is another corridor that extends down, but it also the echoing suggests that there's water further down there as well. And then straight ahead, there is a slightly off-kilter corridor that leads down. Each of them are 10 feet wide. Each of them are the same. And then in the walls as well, there are rows and rows of burial alcoves. If you can think of that scene from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where they're making their way underneath Venice, there's all those crypts and whatnot set into the walls. That's what you're seeing in here. And there's God, maybe there's like 80 of them in here. Even just at a cursory glance, they seem to line the walls in here. Now, as you guys are making your way down as well, you can see that there are stylized along the walls. Then they're a little damaged because of the, the shifting of the land underneath this place. But there are symbols and pictures depicting some kind of great struggle. And the pictures seem to communicate that there's something, some great warrior with this massive, like stylized mace or club or morning star of some kind, rising up against a bunch of like skeletal stylized kind of things. If you can picture like the what are they called? Not Dance Macabre, but the Memento Mori styles with the skeletons dancing and stuff. That sort of is what he seems to be setting against. There is a stylized depiction of that same warrior, his head down, kneeling, and there are two smaller figures, girls, it looks like, on some kind of slab. And then you see a final one of him, and there are 4 other figures, one with a sword, 2 others that are sort of like damaged so you can't see what they are. And they're facing off against some giant horned figure. And that's sort of the last thing you see as you're making your way down here. And you guys walk out into the room. Ruggin, do you give them any warning to say don't come in this room, or you just let everyone join you?
So as I get to the entrance of it, I give the signal to stop, so I can have a bit of a look around, just at least from the doorway, and take it all in. Look for any movement. So no movement or sounds in here.
You're looking around, and no, I hate to steal a phrase here, but it seems as still as a grave. Fucking Bush League DM. So you're looking around, and yeah, it seems like, each of these alcoves seems to contain some body that's been wrapped in some kind of decayed clothing, or now decayed cloth, and set to rest. What would you guys like to do?
So you said the water. There's three corridors, right?
3 corridors. There's one leading straight ahead that's slightly on that 30-degree angle. There is one to your right, but it leads down and is submerged beneath water. You can see that it's there because the lintel is sort of poking above the surface, and it has the same kind of stylized markings that you saw on the door and on the walls leading down into the crypt. And then on the right, there's another one that seems to lead down in the opposite direction. And not into, like, this was not designed this way. It's just that something's happened to shift this whole place. And that corridor is now leading, like broken and shifted. So it's going down. It's not submerged there, but it sounds like from the echoes you're hearing that there is water further down that corridor as well.
Well, if I don't see, if I don't detect any trouble, I will signal them to catch up with me.
Okay. So the 2 of you guys, Bargle and Huxley, you make your way into this room, and you're looking around with the light on it too. It's just there's that like particles sort of drifting in the air, caught by your light, as if you guys are disturbing a place that has not been had mortal visitors for centuries, if not millennia.
I'm going to take some time, and I'm going to study these frescoes on the walls and floors and such to see if I can recognize not only the history behind what they're describing, but see if there's any kind of hidden meanings or clues within them.
Sure. Okay. So what we'll say is, while Bargle's doing that, what would Huxley and Ruggin like to do?
Ruggin is going to cautiously investigate one of the burial alcoves.
Okay. So the alcoves themselves, just for a mechanical basis, you can search it'll take you 10, is it 10 minutes? 1 minute. 10 minutes to search 10 of them. Let me double check that again. I don't want to fuck you guys in terms of time. Let's see here. Yeah, so it'll take you 10 minutes to search 10. Basically 1 minute per alcove to do a thorough search of each of them. And
I'll start some of that.
Okay. So that's going to take a while for Ruggin to be sort of, doing his tomb robbing thing. Huxley, what would you like to do?
I suggest I will light a torch.
Okay.
And together with Callas, go and have a look down the tunnel to the passage to the right.
Okay.
The one that seems to lead to some water.
Okay. So you and Callas head off in that direction while Bargle is studying the frescoes and markings in here, and Ruggin is searching the alcoves. I'm going to guess that you guys have told Rothmoor to just kind of, keep an eye out. So you make your way down, and what you can see, Huxley, is it extends down, and it's a fairly gentle slope going down, and you can tell from the cracks in the walls and the sort of the stones that are protruding in different places that this is not what was designed. Like, this is a place that has seen some changes. You make your way down about maybe 25 feet with the torch, sort of burning above your head. Callas actually only has a short sword, so if you want to have him carry the torch, you can do that.
I'll get him to carry it.
Okay, so that we can free a hand for you. So he's carrying it. You're walking along. Do you have what do you have out right now? I'm assuming you're.
I've got my shield and also a javelin ready.
Okay. And you make your way down to, like I said, about 25, 30 feet down. When you reach this point where the corridor, you can actually see the ceiling here because it hits a low point and then sort of moves up again. And the water sits, there's a pooling of water there, blackened, that reflects the torchlight back at you. And you'd guess this seems to stretch about maybe 15 feet across. And then the corridor carries on now in an upward direction. You get there and are kind of looking at this. And then, Ruggin, you have searched about, let's see here. I'm going to say you've done about 20 alcoves so far. Let me roll for you. Okay. And Bargle, you can see that you're having to sort of like clean some grime and dust off of the ground. And what you're seeing is that there are, you see the same markings for Vigo that you had seen previously, the things that you saw on the door. So this does seem to be a crypt or something dedicated to that former champion. And you guys are sort of all at that point when you hear echoing from somewhere in the crypt, and it's difficult to tell where, you hear a peal of a girl's laughter, a very young girl. You'll kind of stop and look around. What do you do?
Could we get any idea on direction?
No, unfortunately, it's echoing. Like I said, the ceiling for this goes so far up, it's difficult to tell where it is coming from. It does seem to come, for you, Huxley, it's coming from back in the main chamber. And from you guys, it's coming from somewhere in the, you would think maybe somewhere in the chamber. Oh, sorry, Jamie, I think you're muted.
Bargle says, maybe we should get our backs to a wall. That way there's one less direction for an attack to come from.
How far separated are we all right now? Probably.
So you guys in the main room, you guys are probably within about 25 feet of each other. Like it's only, the room itself is only about maybe 60, 65 feet across. And Huxley only made his way down about 30 feet. So he's probably about maybe 50 feet away.
So I will come trotting back up with Callas up into the entrance of the passageway.
Okay. You are making your way back up. When you something catches your eye, you just spare a second glance back, and you can see something is moving underneath that water.
Oh,
That's
lovely.
at the bottom of the thing. So why don't we all roll initiative, please? So in this game, you normally, so initiative is now just a perception check. You'll notice that your perception is listed separately from the rest of your skills. That's because at default, when you move from the exploration phase into the encounter phase, you make a, what do you call it? A perception check. The difference is when there are certain tactics you can take that will modify that. Like, say, if you're trying to be really sneaky and stealthy, you can roll your stealth to roll initiative instead, right? If there's a situational thing where some other skill might be more appropriate, like diplomacy, to know when someone's going to stop wanting to talk to you and wanting to attack you, you might be able to use that for it. But I think it's probably perception for everybody right now.
What does the parenthesis E stand for, Kevin?
That means expert. So skills in this game, you don't have skill points like you did in 3.5 Pathfinder. You are either untrained, trained, expert, master, or legendary in it. And that will dictate what your extra bonus you get from your to your skills.
So we should just mention it then if we're rolling something?
No, it's already included. It's just a mathematical change.
Very good.
So am I supposed to be reacting to what's behind me? Because that might be reflexes.
We'll make a roll and then we'll drop into action phases.
Okay.
Okay. So we got, let's see here, Bargle got an 11. Ruggin's got a 7. Okay, Huxley. Oof.
Ruggin was distracted by, he's going through tombs. I mean,
absolutely. Gold. Where's my gold?
Where's my gold? Where's my jewels?
Oh. So the turnabout has started. I just rolled a nat 20 for the initiative of the critters. So they will be up first, and then it looks like it'll be Bargle, then Huxley, then Ruggin. Someone give me a D20 roll for the henchman too, please. Hey, nice. Yeah, you guys clearly have good hiring, a good eye for talent. Okay, so first up is then the order is gonna be bad guy. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll type it into the chat so you guys know what order you guys are coming up. Okay. So first up, that whatever it was that was moving underneath the water, sorry, I'm just grabbing the sheet here. Huxley, there it is. Something is slowly moving. You see like a something moving underneath the surface of that blackened water, and then it slowly brings itself up, and you see the soaked and bloated face of a dead man pulling himself out from the water and lurching up. His face is gray and greasy, bloated with the centuries of exposure to the water. His eyes completely white. His face, the skin on it slightly sloughed down as it's peeling off, and he shambles out of the water. Now you guys are, let's see here. You are, I would say you're probably about 10 feet away from this. So mechanically, I'm going to spend and I won't do this every round just for the sake of you guys knowing how the system works. Everything's got 3 actions. So this thing spends 1 stride action to stand up, 1 stride action to get out of the water, and then it comes moving over towards you, Huxley. Actually, I'll roll randomly, see if it's going to go after the henchman. And traditionally, what ends up happening is first round of any encounter in a barrow, 1 henchman dies. So let's see if...
it's tradition.
All right, Huxley, evens or odds?
Evens.
Evens. Okay, so he's going after you. And this thing reaches out with its hands. Does a 15 hit your armor class?
So my armor class is 16.
Nice. Okay, so this thing jerks at you, and you kind of you stand back, and it is not able to connect with you. And you see there's another one that's sort of like its head is starting to surface. It seems to have been further back in the water. So there are 2 of these shambling corpses coming towards you. In the main room, Let's roll here. Bargle, I'm going to making you a black dice, and Ruggin your purple dice. Bargle, you can after that cackling, and after saying you wanted to keep yourself back against the wall, you look over at that corridor on the left that's full of water, and you can see there are two shambling forms that pull themselves out from the water. They're dressed in soaked gray brown robes, and they seem to be shambling off in your direction. Their faces have desiccated to the point where it's really just a tiny bit of flesh holding on to where their skulls poke through, and their uneven, jagged, grayed teeth. And you, Ruggin, can see one of these things in the barrow shatter, so it's kind of like rumbling and trembling, and it moves out. It's one of the barrows that you haven't got to yet, and it staggers out as well. Stride action to get out of there, stride action to move over towards you. It comes shambling over, and this is a woman's corpse, long stringy hair concealing this disgusting burning white eyes. Does a 23 hit you?
It does.
It does. That's not a crit though, right? Not 10 more?
Let's see. My armor class is 16.
16, nice. Okay, so you take 8 points of damage as these desiccated hands just dig into your flesh, and this thing grabs you as well too. It locks on with a vice grip, and you can see its disgusting teeth are kind of biting at the air. And on the far side of the room, another one of these things shambles out and makes its way towards Rothmoor. It does hit Rothmoor. 7 points of damage, and it tears this massive chunk out of his throat, and he curses out and is crying something out in the northern tongue. That's it for the bad guys' henchmen. Who would like to control? What do we do? This we'll have Huxley. James, you'll control Callus because he's with you. Who wants to control either Ruggin or Bargo? Do you guys want to control Rothmoor?
Sure.
Go ahead and let Ruggin.
Okay.
Okay. So Ruggin. So both guys. Basically, these guys have +6 to hit. They can do 1d6 + 2 damage on a hit, and that's basically it. That's all you need to really know. I'll track their hit points. So they have 3 actions. Huxley, let's start with you. So what's his name? Callus. I keep wanting to give him the name of the other elf that's in this campaign. So that's why I keep having to pause and look up his name again. So Callus sees this thing come out and attack Huxley. What does he want to do?
He'll use his hatchet and try and smack it hard on the head.
And Callus has a longsword, actually.
Oh, does it? Super.
Yep. Hatchet is what Rothmoor has. So
Okay.
Go ahead and give me dice +6. And actually, the longsword will do 1d8 damage instead of 1d6. So it'll be, I'm assuming his weapon's out. That means he stride to get into contact. 1 action to make an attack. Whoa, nice. That's actually a crit. Fuck yeah.
Nice.
So double damage. So 2d6 + 4, please, in damage. And that is slashing damage. He said, as if that was something important. Nice. Okay. So what he does, you find, is as his longsword slashes into this thing, the flesh of this creature seems to give way like an overcooked Christmas goose, where its skin is splitting apart and falling away. That the damage that he's inflicting with this is much greater than what you would have anticipated. But and basically, like a whole chunk of its back sort of sloughs away, and he positions himself for another strike. The right arm looks like it's barely holding on, but it is still standing, animated by some foul force. Next up is Rothmoor. What's he doing?
So tell me where.
I forgot. I'm fucking over the NPC here. 3 actions. Now, the way that multiple attacks work in this, you can attack again You just take -5 to your second attack and -10 to your third. If you've got a weapon with the agile trait, then you actually only take -4 and -8. So what that means is that he can take another attack if he wants. Callus can at +1 instead of +6.
I think that sounds like a good way to finish him off. So he slashes
Awesome.
again the other way around.
Okay. So he carries or follows through with his sword. Whoa! Yeah, so he, in a blinding display of elven swordsmanship, he first sloughs, does that massive strike. He sees where it's weakest, brings it up and around, and then artfully cuts this thing through from the head, severing it, and back out through where that weakened arm was. It drops to the ground dead.
I knew I liked this guy.
Yeah.
And
So okay, so that was him. Now is Rothmoor. Sorry, Sean, go ahead.
So where is Rothmoor right now?
Rothmoor has one of these zomboids on top of him, trying to basically eat his throat. He is about probably about 20 feet away from you guys.
Well, Rothmoor's not having it, trying to use his shield to defend himself from it and hacking at it with his hand axe.
Okay, so
with his glorified hatchet.
Sure. Okay, so I think what you've described is that he's going to use an action to ready his shield, so he'll gain the +2 AC bonus and be able to use the reaction to protect himself.
Yep.
And then he's going to fucking hack this thing. So go ahead and make an attack roll, +6.
All right.
Yeah. I think Callus was thinking of Bargle when he cut that thing down.
Right.
Okay, so 12. Now, here's the fortunate thing. These things are very slow-moving, very easy to connect with. So he hacks at this thing and does manage to connect.
Yes.
So go ahead. It's 1d6 +2 damage, please.
All right.
Oh, no. Unfortunately, this thing's so close to him, he's not able to get a really solid hit, but he can spend his final action attacking again if he likes.
Absolutely.
Now, here's something else you could do too, Sean, just because if you're familiar with third 3.5 Pathfinder, there are not every creature gets an attack of opportunity when you move out of range or when you try and cast a spell in it. It's only really creatures that are like where it makes sense because they're martial creatures.
Yep.
So I mentioned that only to say because he could try and get some distance between this thing, or he could try and make another attack. He has about 2 hit points left right now.
Oh. Yeah, he will okay, well then he will use he will try to break away and back away towards Ruggin.
Okay. I want to point out one really useful tactic you used there, which was to ready your shield and then try and move out. Because if this thing had triggered a reaction, which was an attack of opportunity, you could have triggered your reaction to block it. This thing, however, has no martial training. It's driven by hunger, and that's it. So you shake this thing off. Rothmoor staggers back, bleeding profusely from that neck wound, and manages to bring himself back. Right now, Bargle is trying to move himself back towards the wall, and Ruggin is sort of near where that alcove is, grappling with that zombie. Who does he want to move towards?
I think between Bargle and Ruggin is engaged. I don't believe Bargle is, so he's going to back his way towards the alcove.
Okay, towards
Ruggin.
Towards Ruggin. Okay, cool. And I think you told me that he wanted to position himself tactically to flank. Isn't that what I heard you say?
And that's exactly what I said.
Another sound tactic, because with flanking, the target becomes flat-footed and therefore vulnerable to your sneak attack.
It's where you read my mind.
I know. Terrific. Okay, so then next up is Bargle. What are you doing?
All right, Bargle. Ruggin has a guy grappled onto him, right?
He does, yeah.
Okay, so Bargle holds out his hand, and the tips of his fingers start glowing, and he traces through air a holy symbol of one of the gods, and then he takes his other hand and pushes the illuminated symbol forward into the zomboid using Disrupt Undead at a range of 30 feet.
Love it. Okay, so what it is, you roll 1d10, and then I roll a fortitude save, and then and I tanked that fortitude save, so he takes full damage. All right,
and that's positive energy,
which is a good call. So this, as this thing hits it, it's like I'm trying to think what it. Oh, so I've used this description before, but it's basically like, imagine a hot blade plunged into icy water. That's what happens as this thing cuts into it, and it screams and pulls itself away from Ruggin. You're no longer grabbed.
Did he fail or critically fail his check? Because if he critically failed, he becomes enfeebled for 1 round.
Yeah, no, he just failed.
Right.
But the good question though. Okay, so that was.
I'm going to issue a command word, summoning up a barely translucent shield in front of me.
Nice. It appears in front. Awesome. And that is it for Burgle. Next up is Huxley. What are you doing?
Now, what can I see in front of me? There's one been slashed to pieces.
Yep. And there is another one in the water. There is one that is slowly, like, crocodile style, like its eyes are just above the water and it's starting to make its way out towards you.
I will hoy my javelin at him.
Nice. Okay. You had your javelin out?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So then go ahead and make an attack roll. That's a thrown weapon, so you get to use your strength. So I think you got +5 to it.
+6.
+6? Oh, nice. Oh, right, because you're an expert without everything. That's one badass thing with fighters in this, is fighters become experts in everything, which means they get an extra +1 with all weapons over every other class. Okay, so hurl this sucker. Whoa!
That one in the face.
Holy shit. Okay, so that is a crit. And let's see here. That does piercing damage, I believe.
Yeah, 1d6 +4.
Okay, so it'll be 2d6 +8 piercing. Oh, nice. All right, so you hurl this thing in there, and as this thing's coming out, you hit it so hard that its head is basically like jammed down. It hits in the jaw and sort of pins it down and jerks through the chest. It's not quite down, but you've managed to sort of pin its body together at a weird angle, so it's kind of like and moving itself up. One more solid hit like that, and it is down. Actually, even a much less solid hit. Yeah, zombie kebab. Thank you. Now I know how to track the hit points for it. All right. So that was one action to make your attack. What would you like to do next?
I will draw my sword.
Two more actions.
Yeah. So I'll draw my sword.
Okay. So interact with object to draw your sword.
Now, he's only got his head sticking out.
Right. And the kebab now.
And the kebab.
You can also hear the sound of fracas back in the main chamber.
Right. I'll shout to Callus, get back into the main chamber.
Okay.
And then back up myself.
Okay.
So I keep my shield up. My sword's now in hand, and I keep facing the kebab.
Okay. Now, the last action, just mechanically speaking, do you want to spend that last action striding to move back, or do you want to spend that last action to ready your shield?
I'll ready my shield.
Okay, cool. So you're sort of standing firm against this thing.
I'll stand still and let Callus run back.
Awesome.
This next round.
Next up is Ruggin. What are you doing?
So I've been released, right, from the
Yes.
And I have this one foe, right? One foe.
Just one, yeah. There's still one that is that was chomping on Rothmoor. There's the one that's engaged with you, and there seems to be two of them that are making their way out of that chamber on the right, the one that's completely submerged.
I am going to let's see, up close.
one thing and I'm not suggesting this is what you need to do necessarily, but one of the things I also really like about this edition is that all those like combat maneuvers that you had in Pathfinder, like shoving or bull rushing or knocking down or disarming or stuff like that, that's just an athletics check now. Anybody can try that. There's no penalty.
I think I'm going to hack at this thing with short sword.
Okay. So did you have your short sword out, do you think? Or
no?
Okay, so then interact with the object to get your sword out. You don't have to move into this thing. Go ahead and make an attack roll.
All right.
There's no modifier for the flat-footed, just affects their AC, so it's easier to hit. Let's see how you do here.
All right. Short sword, I'm +5.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Holy shit, nicely
Progress.
done. Fucking awesome. Okay, so that is that's a crit as well. So you don't double your precision damage from backstab, but you do double your weapon damage. So that is 2d6 plus, because you're a rogue, you get to add your dex to the damage, not just your strength. So I think that's 2d6 plus 8 damage, isn't it?
See, my dexterity is +4 is the modifier. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then it's 2d6 plus 8.
All right.
Damage.
That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. And then what is your backstab?
My backstab. Would that,
or your,
what would that be?
Backstab, sneak attack. Sorry, I'm thinking OSR here. Sneak attack. So because this thing is flat-footed, because you flanked it, an extra 1d6 precision. So go ahead and roll 1d6 extra.
Okay. So 19 total.
Holy shit.
Yes.
That is an incredible fucking thing. So actually, you're going to take this thing down, I'll say, because I don't care about 1 hit point. Describe for us how this thing goes down.
So he was put on his back foot at first from this thing rolling up on it, and so he draws his sword. Well, after the wizard ably kind of got it to release and gave him a little bit of space, he drew his short sword and basically sliced the guts, right out whatever's remaining, whatever dry, crusty things remaining in there.
Yep.
He basically disembowels the crusted remains of whatever was there.
Okay. So this thing drops and sort of falls out from within and bends back on itself like a poorly hinged door and collapses down once again. Still nicely done. That you still have one more action.
So what do I see? So I've got
there's one to your right. I'm kind of picturing you're on the north side of the chamber. Basically to your right, there are two sopping wet walking corpses that have just come out of that right corridor. To your basically directly forward, there's that other one that its mouth is covered in the gore from Rothmoor's lifeblood, and you can hear shouting coming up from the other corridor, the one that's not submerged. And
so Rothmoor is coming towards me, right?
Rothmoor is right near with you right now. He's
and how far away is that foe of his, that you just described?
Probably one stride for you, probably about 20 feet.
Is there? Does it look like that foe's staying on Rothmoor or coming for me? Is it able to tell?
I don't think you can tell. Its eyes are all kind of cataract over and whatever.
Is there an advantage to waiting for it to come to me?
Well, you've only got one action. It's a good question. But so in this edition, the way that readied action works is you have to spend 2 actions to then say, okay, if X, then Y.
Got it. Let me see. Because if I stride towards it, I've used up my action, right? And I can't get to it and attack this round, I believe. Is that correct? Because I just got 1 left.
You can make another attack if you like. It's just that you take minus, depending. So you're not at range in anything right now. But let's say that you had a dagger in your hand that you could throw. You could make another attack with that. It just you take minus. Normally, it's a -5 for the second attack you make in a round. But with an agile weapon, it's only -4. and daggers are agile. I think all your weapons are actually agile.
I will throw my. Can I throw my short sword at it?
Let's take a look. I don't
It's
know.
got agile. I only say it because it's got agile as part.
Yeah,
of
it's got agile. I just don't know if it's got a thrown trait on it.
Got it.
Yeah, so it could not. It could be poorly balanced. Really, what I'll do is I'll make you. I'll give you a -4 to hit with it, just because it's if it isn't allowed to be thrown. Let's see here. Short sword. Yeah, agile, finesse, and versatile. So it cannot. But go ahead and make. If you want to make an attack roll, go ahead and make. Let's see here. Be -8 to the roll. So you got +5. -3 is the net.
All right.
These things are pretty easy to hit, though. So
I'll give it a shot. Ooh. Didn't work out.
So that is a nat 1, which is a crit fail. So let's see here. I think what happens is yeah, that's too mean. I
You were going to have me strike down Rothmoor?
No, I was going to have you break the tip of Bargle's staff and have you guys plunge into darkness. But that is a little. If Bargle had rolled a nat 1, that's what I would go with. That's fucking over another player on a kind of your bad roll. So I think what happens is, you throw this, and then you don't realize, building on what you said before, because you'd cut the grease and the guts out, you didn't realize just how much of that shit was still on the floor. So you throw and then sort of stumble and like, whoa, boom, and you fall down prone. Your short sword kind of scattering across or skittering across the floor to somewhere in the darkness.
Curses.
Okay, so then next up is zomboids. So that one in the water comes out towards you, Huxley. So it's a stride to get up to you. An attack. Does a 18 hit you?
So I've got normal armor of 16, and this shield being up gives me another +2.
Yes. So 18. So he does connect, but you do you want to use your reaction to shield block?
Yes.
Okay. So actually, I only rolled 3 points of damage, which means your shield blocks it all together. You take no damage.
Cool.
So bam, and then this thing uses its last action to try and get around the shield and get at you. That is a 8, which is actually what's that?
No, go ahead.
I was saying it's an 8, which is actually a crit failure on its part. So
tragic.
So what I'll let you do is, like, you could. Does this thing fall to the ground, or do you push it back into the water? So
I think I give the javelin that's still stuck in him a good hard yank and twist it into him.
Okay, so you So you go back and you grab it with your shield. Sure.
I'll drop my sword on the ground.
Yep.
And give him a good hard twist and a shove with that.
Awesome.
The
okay, so he drops. He only had a couple hit points left anyway. He falls back into the water and drifts up. Now, once again, a still corpse. For the ones in the main room, let's see here. We've got one that is hungry for Rothmoor, I think. Let's roll randomly. It'll be either Sean or evens or odds.
Odds.
Okay, so he is going for Rothmoor again. Fucking nat 20. So this thing goes racing over, leaps onto Rothmoor, and then it tears out his throat. He cries out one last, strangled cry, either to his mother or perhaps an oath against orcs. But he drops down, and this thing is on top of him, chomping away. The other two that have come out, let's roll randomly. Bargle, evens or odds?
Odds.
Odds, okay. So one is going after Ruggin. 2 are going after Ruggin. So they use... Oh, and you're prone. Shit, you're flat-footed too.
I am.
Okay, so the 2 of them come shambling over towards you and are going to go down and try and get you. Let's see here. I think I got 2 hits there. No crits, though, so a 21 and a 20.
My AC is 16.
Awesome. So no crits. So you take, let's see here, that's 7 points of damage from these things scrambling away at you. You're sort of panicked and trying to keep them away, and they'll use their last actions. They do not hit. Oh, one does hit.
Okay.
On their second attacks. And you take another 5 points of damage.
I am at 0.
Okay. So now, do you wish to spend a hero point to put yourself at 1?
You know I do.
Hey, good. Prudent
Yes.
use of your resources.
Yeah.
So these things are sort of scrambling, are just like biting at you and tearing at you, and you're kind of like trying to keep them off. Thankfully, that is the end of the zombie's turn. Next up is I got down henchman, but technically it's only Callus. So what is Callus doing?
So Callus had better. He's in the chamber, right, or in the entrance?
He's still with you. You gave him that command to get up
right
there.
Okay.
So it'll take him basically. It would take him 2 stride actions to get into contact with either the walking corpse that's on Rothmoor's body or the 2 that are attacking Ruggin.
So he will go for one of the 2 that is attacking Ruggin.
Okay.
So it'll take him 2 to get there.
Yep.
And then 1 left to smack him.
Yes. Go ahead and make your attack roll. He goes racing over, cries something out in Elvish, and brings that. Oh. He leaves you in darkness, Huxley, because he was carrying the torch. Let's see how he does on his attack. $13 does hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay, so that's
8 damage. Nice. Okay. And he has a sword, so it's slashing damage. So once again, this seems to be particularly effective against this thing. He slashes against this thing's sword, and one of its arms sort of drops to the ground, still grappling onto Ruggin's leg, which he kind of like kicks it away, and the hand falls off and still kind of grips blindly at the air. That's it for Callus. Next up is Bargle.
All right. Bargle sees Ruggin in trouble, and this time he draws out the symbol of Arcatro?
Yep.
And pushes that forward onto one of the zombies.
Okay. And what happens?
Right,
is it another one? Okay.
4 points of damage.
Love it. Okay, and I failed my fort save, so didn't crit fail, but failed. Okay, so this thing, is it the one that Callus hit, or the other one?
The one Callus hit.
One Callus hit. Okay, so yeah, you gesture again, and once again, it like a brand into a cattle's side. It burns this thing. Oh man. Oh, actually, you know what? It completely singes this thing. It burns right through it, and it drops down a heap of ruined, decayed flesh. That was 2 actions. You still have 1 more.
All right. Let's see. Okay, it's on top of Ruggin. I think it's a waste of a spell, but I find Ruggin a very important long-term friend.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and blow a verbal casting of magic missile.
Ooh, nice. Go ahead.
It's not as powerful as it could be, but I need to save Ruggin.
Sure. Yeah. How much damage is it? 1d4 plus something? Plus your spell casting?
1d4 plus 1.
1d4 plus 1. Okay, so go ahead and make an attack roll. Or not attack roll, just roll damage. 4. Nice. Oh, no, wrong thing. Sorry. Okay, so in your haste to get this thing off, you barely have complete the arcane word, and what does it look like? What does your magic missile look like?
I extend my hand, and out from my palm shoots a black and purple bolt of energy, and it lances out and clips this thing in the shoulder.
So part of its thing blasts away, its shoulder blasts away, but not enough to drop it. Okay,
Rugged,
next up
don't
is.
you die on me.
Don't count on it.
That sounds like something that would be worthy of a hero point, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So Huxley, you are in. Now you're in complete blackness because the guy wielding the torch ran away. What are you doing?
I will clutch at my feet for my sword.
Ooh. Let's see here. Can't find it for one action. You want to take another action?
Yep.
I'm just rolling a flat chance here. Yes, you get it.
Right. And then would my sudden charge, which is twice my normal run.
I think sudden charge requires 2 actions, though. So if you see that there's those squares there.
Yep.
Because there's 2, so one that's hollow in the middle. That means it's a reaction, like your reactive shield.
Yep.
But one that has 2 next to it, that means it takes you 2 actions to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, well, in that case, I will run as fast as I can back up the passageway into the main area.
Awesome. Okay, so you are about 1 stride away from either the one that's chomping on Rothmoor or the one that is attacking Ruggin, the one remaining one. Speaking of Ruggin, your turn.
So, Ruggin wants to try to escape. He's thinking is there from the sides of the of this chamber, is there somewhere on it that it's possible to climb?
Absolutely. The alcoves seem to run all the way to the ceiling, or at least fairly far up. So you could scramble up the alcoves with an athletics check.
The only thing that Ruggin's more comfortable with than being underground is climbing underground. So Ruggin is going to scramble up the side.
Okay. So it'll be 1 action to stand, and it does not draw an attack of opportunity. So you're able to sort of batter them aside. You roll to your feet. Go ahead and give me an athletics check, please.
All right. And I do have, for what it's worth, defensive climber feat.
Right. So you're not flat-footed while you're climbing.
Yep. Oh, okay. Athletics.
Ooh. So you're scrambling, you're trying to get a foothold on this, and I think that your boots are probably still coated in the viscera of those things' guts, so you make no progress on this. You're kind of, oh shit, come on, I gotta... you still have 1 more action, though.
And some of those guts are mine, so that's problematic.
True.
And that was how many? That was 2 actions?
You've 2 so far, you got 1 more. You could try it again if you like, or you could choose something different.
Yeah, I'll try it again.
Okay, another athletics check, please.
There we go.
Nice, nat 20. So actually, I'll give you 2. You're well out of its reach right now.
That's
and
what we're talking about.
With the crit, this thing is coming after you still. Its next action is going to be to try and like scramble after you. Excellent. So you've also like sort of drawn its attention.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. So, and speaking of the next round, top of the round, Zomboids. So the one that it was chomping on Ruggin is going to stagger over, and it's going to try and scramble its way up. So it was 1 to stride over to the side, 1 to try and make its way up. So it's it is making its way up and after you. And I'm going to impose -2 to its attack while it's climbing as well. Oh, God damn it. But I rolled a nat 20. So it does hit, and it grabs onto you. So you have 1 more hero point, right? Sean?
Oh, I do.
You do? Okay, so this thing grabs you and yanks you, and pulls you off, and you hit the ground. You will take, like, it's like 11 points of damage, but I'm going to guess you're going to spend a hero point?
I am.
Okay, so you hit the ground, and it knocks the wind out of you. But you managed to scramble up. Or not scramble, but to survive it, though. This thing is also prone after pulling you down. Actually, it rolled a nat 20, so I think it lands in this like feral kind of crouch as it is going to try and attack you again. The one on Rothmoor, I'm going to roll. If I roll an 11 or higher, it's going to keep on chomping on Rothmoor. Dinner time. It's just chomping onto the fallen Northman. And I believe that's all the remaining zombies. So then it is Callus's turn. No, yes, it is. So Callus is in the room. He has 3 actions and a stride to get to either zombie.
He'll go for the one attacking Ruggin, of course.
Okay, that means he's got 2 actions left.
And, okay, so he'll try and land the first one.
That is a hit. Go ahead and roll damage. Okay, plus the bonus. All right. So that it does takes a good chunk out of this thing, but it still is standing.
So he'll take
part
a
of its
second
rib cage
swing.
has collapsed.
He'll take a second swing.
Okay, so that's a +1 to hit then. Oh yeah, that takes it down. Oh wait, no, an 8. Oh no. So that is a miss. So Callus swings, and unfortunately, he was a little over anxious. Next up is Bargle.
All right. Well, Bargle, much like the character Benny from the original Mummy movie, he's got a necklace of different religious symbols that he keeps his references.
I love it.
And so he slides over to the next one, and he takes aim at the one that is crouched near Ruggin, and he traces out the symbol, pushes it forward for damage.
Okay. So now he's praying to Saint Yig. Okay. I made my save, but it's vulnerable to this stuff. So that actually will burn it down. So what does it look like as it scorches through this thing?
So this blue and white flame just rips through him, and the flames burst out of his skull before his head finally explodes. And then I say, Ruggin, what are you laying down on the job for? Get up! And then I cast shield again in front of myself.
Nice. Next up is Huxley. So there's
only one left, right?
There is only one left yet that is currently eating what remains of Rothmoor.
Oh, well, I'll sudden charge him. Let's give it a go.
You go charging in. So let's see here. Yeah, go ahead and make your attack. Yo, definitely hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
Let's see.
Nice. Okay. And you're using a slashing weapon as well, too. And you did a little bit of damage at first. Okay, so that was enough to weaken. What does it look like as this thing goes down?
Oh, I think it'll slash out through its throat. So the remains of its head is lolling as it falls down.
Okay. Bits of Rothmoor dripping from its gore-filled mouth as it slumps on top of him. You guys stop for a moment. You look around, try to, everyone's breathing hard. Ruggin's feeling really, really messed up. And once again, you hear that little girl's laughter echoing around the tomb. Now, well, let's take a 5-minute bio break, guys. Go grab more drinks, more snacks, and we'll come back and see if we can get Ruggin back on his feet.
Cool.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about I unmute? That's probably better. All right. So it is James is back, and other guys are gone. So, how's it going so far?
No, it's great. This is my first time playing in forever.
Oh, nice.
And first time online as well. So
excellent.
Complete virgin all round. It's quite fun.
Nice. It's
fun being a player.
It really is. You know, like I played in Sean's game yesterday. And like I generally run things. I don't. It's usually me in the DM's chair, but it's fucking fun being a player.
And I think it's good to also see it from the other side of the table. You learn
totally.
Something.
Yeah.
So good.
Mm-hmm. What do you normally run?
Age of the Empire.
Age of the. Oh, okay, nice.
But I'd like to run Bushido or Traveller or Mithras. And finding players for any of those is a toughie.
Yeah, well, Sean's actually playing in a Mithras game that Runeslinger is running.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
Yep.
Very good. Which one? In Britannia?
It's set in the early 1900s. So it's Arkham. We're using the I can't think of the name of the supplement at the moment. It's
Oh, you on the ship?
Yeah, it's we're in Shanghai in about 1908, and we're using the Luther Arkwright supplement.
Right.
Cool.
How's it going? I read his blog on the first episode today.
Well, it's very distinct because it's play by email. So it's my first play by email game ever, and it's fun. It's very different because the way you act as a player when you're writing everything, I find very different. I mean, you know, the things that you'd say in this session are pretty off the cuff because everyone's sitting there looking at you. Like, you don't have 5 minutes to think about what you're going to say with everyone staring at you. But when you're writing it by email, so there's no one around, you can take 2 hours, you can take 2 minutes. I find it a completely different experience. You're much more likely to like do research and, you know, kind of like come up with, you know, and of course it's a different period. So you try to be, you know, a little more accurate. Like, you know, how would a ex-constable speak of 1908? Whereas here, I just completely, you know, I just completely, you know, make it up and it'd be ridiculous. And when you're writing it, you feel like it's got to be good. You know, you feel like it's got to be, you know, crafted, you know.
And that gives you a chance to get in character as well. Get more time to get into it.
You do. But the pressure's on. Like, I find myself taking too much time with simple statements. I'm like, dude, I can't keep like taking an hour for every paragraph. You know, like just write something. You know.
Okay, so we you guys now find yourself, apart from the creepy girl laughing, you find yourself out of immediate danger, and the one person who seems to have taken the worst of this, apart from Rothmore, is Ruggin.
I'm fine.
He staggers. He gets to his feet,
blood-soaked leather, and you know, just looking like complete hell.
Your legs are wobbling.
I'm gonna stand shoulder to shoulder with Ruggin and just kind of like reach into my sack and without even looking at him, just smack him in the chest with my hand holding a healing potion. Here, this makes up for Amber Lynn back in 3rd grade.
So, if you choose to use that, there is a mechanic in Pathfinder 2nd called Resonance. And what Resonance is it's basically like your magic battery is a really shitty way of describing it. But it's the way that this edition has chosen to sort of manage how many magic items you can use in a given day. So first, as long as you've got Resonance, anytime you use something like a healing potion or, you know, a wand or whatever, you can use it for free. There's no chance of failure. Once you're out of Resonance, there becomes a progressively greater chance of it not working when you use it. But I think all of you guys...
I have 1 Resonance.
Okay.
I definitely drink the potion. That's without question.
Okay, 1 sec here.
Begrudgingly taking the offering from the wizard, but no doubt I'm taking it.
I basically stole his girlfriend back in 3rd grade.
Still remember.
Oh yeah, it's been a spot for all these years.
Scar is still there.
Jesus. What kind of Bush League player made these characters? It's everyone's only got one resonance. Jesus Christ. Fucking DM. I'm going to assume you guys have 2 resonance because without a healer, this will be a little bit dicey. So you can use, go ahead and roll 1d8. Is that what you rolled there? No, that was the damage. Go ahead and roll 1d8, and I believe that's what you recover from a healing potion.
All right. Got a 5.
Nice. So you get 5 hit points back.
Okay, I'm currently at 6.
And I've got some more health potions. Should we try the second one?
I do too, actually. I have one, so
I think you guys each have 3.
yes. So roll same d8, right?
Yes, please, and then you'll be out of resonance, and then we'll start to. It'll be risky.
Ooh.
2.
All right. 2. Okay. I'm at 8. Very good.
Okay. Do you want to try another and risk it? You can keep trying to use them. It just becomes basically a 50% chance of it not having any effect.
And when does that reset after a rest?
After a rest, yeah.
I'll wait. I may have to take myself off point.
Okay. So, it doesn't seem that anything further happens from that creepy laugh. So what would you guys like to do?
So we've got the passageway in front of us, and we've got the passageway I went down.
Yep. And then there's the submerged passageway on the left as well.
Did I find anything in the alcoves, by the way, that I was able to?
Not yet, but you're only about a quarter of the way done. You want to carry on with that?
No, we'll press on.
Okay.
Press on. Just wanted to check, see if I got anything. Yeah. So one submerged, so that's kind of out, right? I would assume, gentlemen. And then the one straight ahead is the least.
So you can make the decision as well. The way that holding your breath is actually much better in this edition than in previous, or at least I think it is. What you get is if you don't take an action to take a deep breath, then you can take a number of actions equal to your Constitution score. If you take a deep breath, you can take a number of actions equal to double your Constitution score. We got to see these rules in action when my regular group encountered a bog of quicksand.
So we have the one way that's submerged, the one way that sounds like there's water farther ahead, and the one that is at an angle, but no water seems to be involved. Is that correct, Kev?
That's right, yeah.
Well, the one which has got water, the middle one, as it were, or the one on the right, has some water, but you can see the other side of it that's dry. So it looks like, I guess you could, did it look like it was sort of waist height, shoulder height deep?
From where the creatures came through, you'd guess maybe like at least neck deep at the deepest. But again, it's only about 15 feet across, so you could probably navigate it quite easily, even if it's quite deep.
Okay. Because I'm assuming it's tough to swim in chainmail.
You would.
I'm going out on a limb on that.
Well, what's your athletics score?
Athletics is +1.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, actually, you're not as bad.
Can anyone think of a reason?
Brick.
What's that?
I'm an agile brick.
Right. Can anyone think of a reason of any of one over the other, water aside?
Yeah.
Let me see if you guys can. You guys said you wanted to try and consider this in terms of your training, right? That's what I heard. So let's see here. Whoa, jeez, James or Sean, you're back to nat 20s again. You clearly have been thinking about this and studying this very carefully and listening in when you were at the Brazen Strumpet last night as that bragging lucky goblin was once again describing for the locals what he had done. What they heard, what he said was in the Guardian Barrow, there were similarly 2 branching corridors off to the side, and then one that led straight ahead. And the one that led straight ahead is where they found what he was calling the Shadow King.
So I guess the question becomes, is the Shadow King something we want to find or something we don't want to find?
There is a paladin who's been kicking around town, a paladin to our Cantrell, who is wielding this pretty impressive sword said to be recovered from the Guardian Barrow. And that was in the possession of the Shadow King.
And when you overheard it, did he sound cheerful about the finding
the
that,
encounter?
or an "oh my god" sort of comment?
He says, the way he describes it, the lucky goblin, is that it nearly killed his entire party, and that it only through his, his skill that he was able to bring the thing down.
Well, we fared really well against a couple of zombies. So. What can a mere revenant do to us?
Ruggins pauses.
When you say that, Barg will just shoot you dagger eyes.
Okay, everyone gets a hero point again for defeating that last scene too.
What do you think? Shadow King or no Shadow King?
I think we came here for the big payoff, no, right?
All right.
Sounds
yeah,
like
I mean,
me
we
up
do get a
front
discount for Rothgar.
Or he can keep look after our backs.
I look at Kalis and say, I hope Rothmar wasn't a friend of yours.
He looks down and shakes his head. No, I'm here for the coin, not camaraderie.
I can understand that.
A man after mine own heart.
That's what Susan said.
He looks at you again. So, what are you guys going to do? Quarter to the left, quarter to the right, quarter straight ahead.
Let's straight ahead then, right?
Straight ahead. So, Callus and myself take point.
Okay. So you guys, let's hear. Callus and you are on point. Next is, I guess, Bargle.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Okay. And then leading up the rear is good old Ruggs.
How fast do you limp?
Fast enough.
He keeps having to take a knee. Just give me a sec.
Yeah.
No,
I'm fine. I'm fine.
All right. So you guys find that the corridor is like the others is about 10 feet, and it's just very slightly askew, which gives it a slightly disorienting feel. You feel that the one wall to the right seems to when it was freshly crafted, it was likely perfectly even, but now it bows out to the right to give it sort of a tumorous, sort of bulging feeling that then narrows in as you get closer to the end. The walls are grime and kind of covered by the where water has leaked down. There are pools of water on the ground as well too. And again, it feels even colder to the point that when you get near the end where this large stone door lies, you think you can start to see your breath. I'm guessing that Callus is still carrying the torch, and then Bargle, you've got your staff of light up quite high. The door itself is of different colored stone than the remaining, or than the rest of the structure, and it has several markings on it as well. Very fine tracery, very much like what you saw before. And Bargle, from your earlier really great rolls, you can see the crest of Vigo on here as well.
Okay, I'm going to detect magic again.
Okay. So you do. Would you kind of give me a will save, please? So that'll just be a D20 roll plus your will saving throw. Nice.
Bazinga.
So at some point, you've been exposed to, I think, quite dark magics, because this wave of necrotic energy that you detect really doesn't phase you at all. Your eyes just kind of narrow dramatically, and you're like, I knew it. So yeah, there's incredible waves of necrotic energy flowing out from this chamber.
Is it flowing from the chamber or emitting from the door?
There is
does the door seem trapped in some way?
Yeah, that's a good enough rule to know that it's the distinction. No, it's not that there is something specifically magical about the door. It's that there is something of phenomenal necrotic power within that is, giving these waves of power out.
Gentlemen, something very, very nasty, something very, very undead is on the other side of this door.
Would everyone give me a perception roll, please? Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So, Bargle, you as soon as you detect that, you say that something very powerful is on the other side of this door, and then you look down, and you're not surprised to see there is a bank of a small, very, very small sort of cloud of roiling fog that moves itself along the floor very, very quickly, and sort of around your feet. And you think because you rolled quite well on that, for the faintest of seconds, you hear the fleeting sound of like a far-off girl's giggle. And then these fog sort of like hits the bottom of the door and seems to flow underneath it, and then is gone. Ruggin and Huxley, you guys didn't unfortunately notice that.
Okay, I let him know about the fog, and I heard the girl's voice again.
Really?
I think we got some bad juju here.
Perhaps the shadow
Let's make sure we're ready.
So I will prep my shield and sheath my sword and get a javelin ready.
Okay. You are prepared. Ruggin and Bargle, what are you guys doing?
Now, quick DM question.
Sure.
My arcane focus spell I already prepared for the day. Would that be? Could I have stuffed a magic missile spell in there for emergency?
Yeah, what I don't think you get to decide beforehand. As long as you've used this spell already, then yeah, you can just boom. You regenerate it.
I have prepared our magic missile in mage armor.
Yep.
Which I'm going to go ahead and cast mage armor on myself.
Okay, cool. What does your mage armor looks like? Sorry.
A glistening sheen. I just wave my hand over myself, and a glistening sheen forms over my body.
Cool. Okay. And then you've got, so you've expended both of your daily spells, so you can pick either of them and have it back again. Okay. And Ruggin, what are you doing?
I think
Besides taking a moment. Right. Against the wall. Just all right.
Tiredly, with a sigh, insisting he's fine, leaning against the wall. He's going to ready his bow.
Okay. You get your bow out.
Short bow in hand with the arrow notched.
Okay. So then what are you guys doing with the door, if anything?
Actually, I think I might check it for traps.
Okay. Let's see here. You make your way over there. What your bonus with thievery is +5, right?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, you carefully check this door, and there are traps on this.
Okay.
There is a trap that releases gas of some kind. So you're carefully looking in this thing, and this is taking like 10 minutes. So it's an interminable wait for the other guys that are kind of watching and just hearing the dripping of water from far off in the tomb.
I can't be rushed. I can't be rushed about this.
Wiping sweat and blood away from your forehead.
right?
Oh, sorry, Jim, I interrupted you. What'd you say?
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Someone quiet the wizard.
Tap of an armored boot. So there is yes, there is a what do you call it? A trap here. And I think that what you also know from your earlier really good rolls on your lockpicking, this is something that was part of the original crafting. Very similar to that trap that you noticed had been diffused by someone else.
Mm-hmm.
This is one that was not affected.
Mm.
So they didn't make it this far.
Yes. Maybe that goblin was full of it. Well, I will try to disarm it.
So just as a metagame thing too, the goblin said he got into a different guardian barrow. This is a different one.
Ah,
right. Yeah. Just that he, the reason I mentioned him was because if this is the second of the guardian barrows, then this one may have a similar layout because from what the goblin had described, or at least what you overheard, it had a very similar layout. Kind of a four-way junction at the first room, and then crypts on either side, and then something else more important forward.
Okay. Well, it appears to be a
IKEA barrows, totally. Gonna Bush League DM uses the same fucking map over and over again.
They're all identical.
This
is
not what we signed up for, Kev.
It appears to be a breathable trap, so perhaps everyone else should take a few steps back in case this doesn't go as planned. Of course it will, but if it doesn't.
Well, I'm already 30 feet away, mate.
Yeah, Ruggin turns around to deliver that message and finds the fighter like back in the next,
peeking round the corner.
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
Ruggin rolls his eyes.
Vargol has complete confidence in Ruggin and is just standing there with his back against a door with one leg propped up against it with his arms crossed in front of him.
Okay. Nice.
All right. Ruggin turns back to it.
Okay.
Make a thievery roll.
Yes, please.
There we go.
Whoa! Now we're back on
knew it.
form. Nice. So, you carefully knowing what you knew from before about the nature of this construction. This is not the first time you have been exposed to this. Whatever lost tribe of people, of men that built these structures, you have trod through their ruins before. And you handily know a very quick way of disarming this. You believe that the door is now safe.
And just before I make the final unhook of the trap, I look back at the fighter and do it. Finish it then.
That's great. I think that's worth a hero point too.
Vargol and Ruggin fist bump with explosion.
Exactly.
Huxley frogs.
Right.
All right. So the door seems to be both unlocked and trap free. What are you guys doing?
Well, I'll with confidence. I open it.
Okay. This door is much heavier than the last, but the hinges on this are much better construction, and it opens with a scraping stone on stone sound, but it's incredibly light to the you think that perhaps there may have been some dwarven guidance for the engineers or architects behind this.
Some of my brothers might have formed this door.
As you say that, you can hear it echo within the chamber that lies beyond the door. You pull the door open, the light from Bargol's staff and from Callus's torch. Incidentally, I gotta fucking cross it out right now because I almost called him Kebab. From Kebab's staff.
Right.
What you see inside is a circular chamber with a domed roof. Around the sides of the chamber, there are tiles set into the wall of all sorts of unusual designs, very reminiscent of the carvings that you saw on the first door and on the hieroglyphs leading down. And it leads up to the top, and there is a stained brass, like pounded brass ceiling with a stained and faded symbol on it. Let me just make a roll here, you guys. Okay, Bargle, the symbol is the same forgotten faith. It's a forgotten god that you have seen in other bits of research that you've done on Vigo. This may have been the god that he long ago and his people venerated, completely forgotten to the mists of time at this point. In the center of the room, there is a raised dais of stained white and black veined marble. There's one fairly large sarcophagus that dominates the structure, big and heavy, with a heavy heavy stone lid on it, with a stylized depiction of a northern warrior grasping in his hand a shield and then a large ornate-looking mace, and with heavy big flanges and stuff on the end, but with like northern flourishes to it. Flanking this on either side are much smaller sarcophagi, and these have the same stylized figures on it, but it is two young girls, long hair. Their stony faces have no pupils or anything carved into them, and they have a mixture of both serenity and eeriness, because you can notice that both of them, there is, you know, a certain degree of dust and grime and whatnot on each of these, but it appears that the eyes from both girls have blackened tears that run down them, still moist, dancing in the light.
Okay, I'm going to point out to the others. Remember the floor and frescoes in the bigger room that depicted the two girls being sacrificed? It might be these two.
Oh.
And I guess...
You rolled a nat 20, Bargle, on your on your lore. You know what? You actually think, looking at these crypts, you think that these may actually be daughters. They have the same family crest on it, and what you think is, thinking back to the designs you saw in the frescoes or the hieroglyphs or whatever that you saw on the first corridor, these actually may be the daughters of Vigo, and they may have been struck down by whatever villain that whatever evil he faced. And it seems as if he has been laid to rest, because the Guardians were sort of laid to rest as ever watchful against the return of this evil. It seems that he had himself laid to rest with his two daughters, struck low by that evil.
Okay, I relay that information.
Okay.
All right. I'm thinking about it. I'm going to go first to the one on the left, then to the one on the right of the sarcophaguses.
Okay.
I'm going to take a silver coin and place it as an offering on top of one sarcophagus at a time, and offer a prayer to whatever deity watches over these girls to keep them protected.
Would you give me a will save, please? Again.
Okay. +4.
Nice. Awesome. So you're making your way over. Bargle is like the unflappable wizard. Nothing fucking phases him. He's seen it all. So you're making your way over, and you've drawn carefully a silver coin out. You make your way into the room, up onto the dais to make your way over to the sarcophagus, and then you see, poking her head out from around the side of the sarcophagus and looking at you with this kind of like impish, mischievous look on her face or expression is this small, pallid girl with deathly white skin, vibrant blue eyes, and white hair kind of hanging around her. She's crouched on her knees and is poking her head out around the side of the sarcophagus, and she sees you coming and gives this kind of like, half smirk, and you stop. What do you do?
I'm going to say, greetings, child. I've come to help you find your rest. Please accept this offering and prayer so that you may rest.
And what, do you gesture out with it, or?
Yeah, I slowly hold the coin out with my palm extended out so she can see the coin, and I motion towards the casket that I'm near, trying to convey my intent of putting it on it.
Okay. She says something in a language you don't quite understand. And in kind of it's a question that she's posed to you, but it's a language that no one's spoken aloud for 800, 900 years. And she kind of smiles a little more, and then still crouched down on her haunches, she jumps forward a little bit, and you can see now that she's wearing a simple but probably finely made at the time white dress. And she gets a little closer and cautiously raises her hand, gets it a little closer. You guys can now see this little girl making her way up towards you. And she goes to grab the coin. How are you holding the coin? Is it like in your hand just for her to take from your palm? Are you hanging it out with your two fingers?
Holding it out with my palm extended.
Okay. So as she goes over, her little hand is going closer and closer to grab the coin out of your hand. And then very quickly, she just kind of, her hand moves down and it grabs your hand. Would you kindly give me a fortitude save, please?
All right. Wah, wah.
Oh no! Nat one. Okay, so what I'm going to
I would like to use one of my heroic points.
Yes, please. So you spend 2 to re-roll, and then if you fail again, you get to keep get one of them back.
Booyah!
Nice.
Whoa! Yes, excellent. Okay, great. So what you can feel as this girl grabs your hand is you can feel this. It's kind of like a spreading cramp is a way of describing it, where like your muscles all the way up the length of your arm are spasming and tightening and twisting and starting to lock up, and you are able to bring your hand back, and you think that if you had let her hold on much longer, then she would have, it may well have prevented you from even speaking, never mind moving. And just bear with me 1 second here. I want to find one thing here.
Sure.
Here we go. She then says one more word. Gudrun. And I'd like you all to roll initiative, please. Let's see how. Good old Callus has got a 10. Okay, creepy little girls got a actually really shitty initiative roll.
So is that with perception?
Yes, please. Whoa, Rugs, way top of the round now. Nice.
Yeah.
Argle, okay. So, geez, looks like so it's going to go Ruggin, then Callus, then the creepy girls, then Huxley, then Bargle. Okay, so Ruggs, you're up first, and what you notice out of the corner of your eye, you're sort of transfixed by this bizarre scene that you see playing out before you. You see out of the corner of your eye, there's another one of these little girls that's sort of like poking her way around, like again creeping down on haunches basically, and making her way around the side of the sarcophagus. She has that same kind of like cherubic face that you see on the other one. Only this one, her mouth kind of opens, and you can see that her teeth are these. It's what you would expect inside like a 100-year-old smoker. They're disgusting and stained and misshapen. And her eyes seem like completely bloodshot. She looks like she's about to jump in on you guys. So there's one that's over on that one side that's about 20 feet away. There's the one that has tried to do something to Bargle, and that's all you can see. What would you want to do? 3 actions.
I am. And how does Bargle look at this point?
Bargle is. What do you? I think you probably had enough time to maybe like utter something or to sort of react. Whatever this thing did, he sort of maybe grunts. Yeah. Great role play.
Simple and effective. Does he, so he looks like he's in distress?
Yes, definitely. Whatever this little girl did to him.
I'll try to put an arrow into the girl.
Nice. Okay. Go ahead and make an attack roll.
All right. Let's see. My first arrow shooting. So what would be the?
I think it's +4. So it's your dexterity plus 1. So plus your level.
My dex. It shows as +4.
Yep. So it should be +5 in total to the hit. I think under your gear it should have all the plus to hit stats.
Sure
what kind of damage it does and stuff like that.
You are correct. +5. 15.
Nice. Okay, 15 is actually just good enough. You let loose. Go ahead and roll damage. I think it's what, 1d6 piercing?
6. A 3.
Okay. So you fire, and it clips the. She's very quick, so she sort of dekes out of the way, and she's also a fairly small target. But you do manage to clip along her shoulder, and she snarls, and you can see Bargle because you're right up close. As that arrow cuts through, it's not blood, but this blackish, thick ichor that spurts out from that wound. So
I kneel back. I think the girls have been corrupted. They're undead.
Okay. So that was only 1 action, Ruggs. You got 2 more.
I am firing again.
Okay. So your reload is a short bow is agile, isn't it?
Short bow is short bow doesn't say. Doesn't say.
Okay, so maybe it's -5 then to your second attack. Unless whoever made these characters listed the wrong fucking thing. Let's double check here. I wouldn't trust him. No, short bow is no. So it's -5 to your next attack, so it'll be +0 to whatever your roll is.
All right.
Yes,
17.
nice.
There we go.
1d6 damage again.
Okay. Oh, she's too quick.
Her teeth are beginning to change as well, too, from the perfect little, smile to this hideous, disgusting mass of rot and decay. Okay, so you still have 1 more action.
Firing again, and as I do, I yell out, "Get away from the whore girl, Bargle!"
Okay, so that will be -5 to this roll. So this is going to be a pretty tricky shot.
So an additional -5.
So no, total, it's -10. Each additional attack you make is a cumulative. Yeah. -5 to the second, -10 to the third, and then that. Or do you want to do something different?
Let me see. It's probably too low percentage of a shot at this point. Tell me, give me one more pass at the room. So, describe the room more time to me.
Sure. So, let's make a seek roll here. Okay. So, it has tiles that have some runic kind of descriptions along the side on each of the tiles that lead up to kind of a dome. and the dome that right at the center is this circular hammered brass ceiling or hammered bronze ceiling that has that symbol of a forgotten god in it. And that sort of the center, the apex of that chamber lies right over where the sarcophagus is.
I am
good call, Huxley.
I am going to reposition myself for as much distance as possible for the other little girl.
Okay.
In preparation for engaging her next turn.
Okay.
Next round.
Okay. You can move, so she'll be about 40 feet away from you at this point.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Next up is Callus. What's Callus doing?
He will head for the same first little girl.
Okay.
How long does it take him to get there?
To the one that is nearest Bargle?
Yep.
Yeah. So it'll be one stride to get there. Two more actions.
Get there, and then smack again with his magic axe.
Yeah. Or a sword.
A sword. I still like the idea of the axe.
He could have picked up, you know what? He could have picked up, what's his name's, Rothmoor's axe. He's not doing anything.
He clearly should have. And then I guess having swung and missed, he will swing again.
Okay, sounds good. This little thing is just sort of like dancing her way around, making it very difficult. Oh, that actually might be good enough. That is good enough.
Excellent.
Okay, let's go ahead and roll damage. Man. This is a really fucking nasty strike. So he cuts part of her face and then down into her chest. And again, that ichor sort of spills out. And as the face sort of peels away, you can see there are like beetles and other kind of insects that sort of like crawl out of it and up along, or drop, I should say, onto her now stained robe. And she snarls back at you. You can see her jaw seems to be extending further than what would physiologically be possible. Then it is the creepy girl's turn. Okay, so creepy girl, I think, is going to go after Callus because he hurt her a lot worse. So first one, oh, that's a terrible roll. An 11, I take it doesn't hit. Her jaw kind of distends out and tries to bite on Callus, and I take it that's a miss because Callus is a. Sorry, I know Callus is AC. You guys don't. So it's a 15 AC. That's a miss. She will follow up with her hands, sort of break, and then this bone juts through them to make this vicious claw. Fucking nat 20 on that. So let's see here. She claws out at little Callus. That is 8 points of damage. He's not dead, but he's down. She tears out at the sort of like from underneath the shoulder, the armpit down, and Callus drops down bleeding. And she has one more action. She's gonna try and, oh, actually no one else has attacks opportunity. She dances back to the far side of the sarcophagus, trying to take cover behind it. Okay, that's first creepy girl. Second creepy girl now I think sees Huxley as the closest, so she's gonna go scrambling across the floor in this creepy, like faster than she should be able to, sideways gallop. And then she will try and her mouth opens up, exposing all those disgusting teeth. Does a 19 hit you?
Yes. Fortunately.
Unfortunately. Okay, so this bite chomps in. You take 6 points of damage, and I need you to make a fortitude save for me, please.
Fortitude. Okay.
So it bites you, sort of. You're keeping your shield, keeping her at a distance, but she managed to get in kind of on like the back of your left calf.
So fortitude. Oh, right. Okay. Yep.
Ooh,
that's
so you feel that same cramping sensation, and all of your muscles have locked up. You cannot move. You are paralyzed.
Booger.
The last thing you gesture before you freeze up. Bugger. Okay, then it has one more action. I think it's going to try and knock you prone. So it gets -5 to this roll. No way. So it tries to push at your legs, but you're just too big and too heavy, and it doesn't knock you down. All right, that's it for the creepy girls. Next up, Huxley. So, Huxley, unfortunately, you are paralyzed, which means the only thing you do this round is make a fortitude save at the end of your round to try and shake this.
Tremendous.
Yes.
Okay.
Some really serious, soul-searching decisions you need to make this turn.
So, I'll just do the roll then.
Yes, please.
1d20.
Ooh, is that good enough? Is that good enough? That is good enough.
Yay!
You shake the paralysis, and this thing is still scrambling around at your legs like some kind of like overexcited, hungry, hideous dog. And next up is Bargle.
All right. Action-wise, what is it to administer a potion?
So it would be an interact with object to draw the potion, and then I think it would be an interact if you're administering to someone else. It would be interact with object as well.
Okay.
You don't need to waste a stride on if you're planning to get to.
Yeah, he should be right next to me.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so you could do that's 2 actions. You still have 1 left over.
All right, so Callus is lying next to me. I lean over him and I whisper into his ear, "Don't worry, Callus. I'll give your cousin your love as I give her mine." And then I pour a potion down his throat and use a stride to GTFO back.
Okay, sounds good. Go ahead and give me a D8 roll. See how many hit points he gets back. Nice. Use the power of hate. Nice. Okay, so he's got some hit points back. Good stuff. All right, end of Bargle's turn, top of the round. Rugs, what are you doing?
Rugs is going to target the little girl's sister.
Okay. Gudrun.
Go.
Oh, nice. That's a hit. Not a crit, but it's still a hit. Another arrow goes out. Go ahead and roll damage, please.
Oh,
for fuck's sake. All right, so that's 1. Oh, I will point out that your sneak attack, I think, can be used on ranged against flat-footed targets.
Oh.
Yeah, additional flat-footed, if you strike with an agile or finesse melee weapon, an agile or finesse unarmed attack, or a ranged attack, you do 1d6 extra precision.
What determines if they're flat-footed?
If they can, so you could spend an action to try and hide, right? Or so that, or if someone's flanking, or if they're prone.
Got it.
So you fire your first shot. It clips her, but she's sort of skittering around Huxley's feet right now. Well, what's your next action?
I will. I'll just fire away. I'm taking the shot.
Okay.
Oh, so this one's going to be straight up, right?
Yep. So it'll be just whatever your roll is.
Okay. 15.
Nice. Yep. That's good enough.
Nice. Oh, brutal.
Okay. So
my last action, I'm going to reposition so I'm a little bit out of sight. So hopefully it might take them by, you're unprepared for the next shot.
Sure. I can't remember how stealth works. I'm not going to look it up right now. So if anyone's listening at home is wanting to know whether this is how the rules actually work, this may not be the case. But Ruggs, why don't you give me a stealth roll? Let's see if you can make yourself unseen to her.
All right.
You're kind of bobbing and weaving through the sarcophagi. Oh, hell yeah, you are.
Nice.
Yeah, so you sort of do one of these, like not sliding across the hood of a car, but sliding across the sarcophagus. You jump over. This is not your first time dancing and weaving around a grate.
That's right.
Okay, next up is Callus. Callus is prone right now. What's he doing?
He will get to his feet.
Okay, he'll have to spend an action to interact to grab his sword again, I guess.
Yep.
And then, so the one is engaged with Huxley. You can see, and then the other one has scampered behind the sarcophagus.
Ooh. He'll head towards the one hiding behind the sarcophagus.
Okay.
I guess
So
he will just block the way forward for it.
okay, so he gets in there. Then next up is the creepy girls. Now, I'm going to say, So the one that's really messed up, Kels was the one who really fucked her up. So, I'm not even going to roll. She's just going to attack Callus again. She looks up at Callus and jumps up to try and bite him. That hits. Oh, Callus is down again. Callus is dead. She tears out. That lily white dress of hers is covered in his lifeblood. However, he has effectively chewed up her actions. So then the next one is the one that's around Huxley's feet. This is going to again. Oh,
Shoot up her actions, eh?
yeah. Come for the DMing, stay for the puns.
You don't even know it anymore. You just pun naturally. It's impressive.
Exactly.
It's reflex.
Some call it a
Right.
gift, some call it a curse. Most call it a curse. So, all right, let's see. The one that's around Huxley, I think she's going to try and knock you prone first. Ooh, yeah, 22. So she slams the back of your feet. You've recovered your your use of your muscles again, but then you're suddenly whoa and are knocked down by this little thing. Then she's going to use her second attack to try and bite you. She has -5 because it's her second attack, but still a 20 in total. Not a crit, but a 20. So I need you to give me another fortitude save as she sinks her. Oh shit! 7 points of damage as those teeth sink into your sword arm.
Another fortitude.
That is good enough. Yeah. So you knew what to expect before. This time you're able to shake off that effect. And then she's going to use her. She sees that Ruggin is not Ruggin. That Bargle seems to be turning his eye towards her. So she sort of snarls at him, and then launches herself off of Huxley, and trying to go up into the basically near where the roof is. However, she did trigger reactions with that. So Huxley, did you want to use your attack of opportunity?
I would like to smack at her as she scuttles away.
Okay.
Or launches away.
She clearly thought that she had left you paralyzed. It's -2 because it's an attack of opportunity. Otherwise, it's a normal attack. You don't take the multi-attack penalties for reaction attacks.
So it'll be my usual +6 -2, so +4 then.
That's right. Yep. Oh, it's so close. So close.
Why don't I re-roll that with one of my hero points?
Two hero points to re-roll.
Let's go for it. We get this darn thing out of the way.
Here we go. Big money. And
I really don't like this girl.
So you do.
I don't know if it's a hair or what, but it's...
You get 1 hero point back though, because you failed, so you didn't lose all of them. You swing your sword and clip just the hem of her dress, but she leaps up and then clings in this weird amphibian kind of style to the ceiling, and is getting ready to reposition. That's it for the creepy girls. Next up is Huxley. What are you doing?
I'll step to my feet, curse loudly.
Yeah.
And get my shield back up.
Okay, so your shield is ready.
That's
so
me
you
done,
still
I
have
guess.
You have one more action still.
I will chug a potion.
Oh, well, chug a potion would have to, you'd have to either
That'd be
drop
2.
or, yeah, you'd have to sheathe or drop your sword. Like that would be at least 2 actions.
I will just ready my shield then.
Okay, so you ready your shield. Do you want to move closer to anybody? Well, I mean, like you could.
Yeah, I will get closer to.
Ruggin is hiding right now. Bargle seems to be the only ally still standing.
I will go and join Bargle.
Okay, so you got yourself out and you're
standing up.
Okay. Next up is Bargle. What are you doing?
All right, so there's the one up in the rafters and the one hiding behind the crypt, right?
Yes.
All right. I weigh my choice for a moment.
The one behind the crypt seems to be Gudrun's sister, seems to be much more fucked up than what Gudrun does.
All right, in that case, and she's probably the closer one to me. So I'm going to, I look up at the top of the ceiling, and then I draw out the holy symbol of that unknown deity, and I cast it right at the one behind the crypt.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, cool. Then let's see here. I failed, and I'm going to let you do double damage because of that you're invoking that specific god.
Nice. Bam.
So this scorches through her, and basically, as the symbol it flares to life and leaves your hand, passes over her. It's like a wave passing, and in place of that horrific thing you've been fighting, it burns through this, and what falls to the ground is a damaged body of a normal child. You have scoured the necrotic energy out of this girl's corpse.
All right. With my final portion of my action, I'm going to very briefly, close my eyes and spend the action praying over her soul.
Nice. Okay, cool. Get a hero point back for that. So you get a hero point back for that. Okay, then it's top of the round. Ruggs, you are hidden, and you've seen, doesn't appear that Gudrun has seen you. You've seen Bargle invoke something that seemingly transformed that other creepy girl back to a normal body. What are you doing?
I'm going to try to give Goodwin a bit of parental discipline here.
Okay.
Firing my bow.
Eat your vegetables.
That's right. Right. 12.
Oh, so close. So she's flat-footed, which means her AC is a little bit lower, but it's not quite good enough. Do you want
to? Good point. Yeah, I'll spend a hero point.
Okay. Give me another roll. So you get 1 hero point back. Your first shot sticks it into the ceiling, and she's looking around trying to see where that shot came from. She sees you.
Okay. I'm gonna fire again.
Okay.
So straight up. Oh shoot.
I'm gonna let her still be flat-footed, so that hits.
Okay.
Okay, so go ahead and roll your damage, and you do get to add precision to this.
All right. Oh,
for Pete's sake.
My rolling is just...
So she's hit, but it doesn't... you're hitting like the diaphanous blowing cloth. You still have 1 more action. What would you like to do? You want to try and hide again?
Yeah, I'll try it.
Okay, give me a stealth check.
Okay.
So you kind of make an elaborate hand gesture and like she can't see me anymore.
Right. She's like shaking her head like, come on.
Okay, so that was Ruggs. Then it is Creepy Girls because Callus is dead.
This is not the adventurer you're looking for.
Yeah. Okay, so there is an equal chance that she will attack any 3 of you. So I'm just gonna roll randomly here. 1, 2, 3, 1. She really liked the taste of Huxley though, so she leaps off and comes crashing down towards you, Huxley. Oh, that is definitely a hit, not a crit, but a hit at 23. Do you want to use your reaction? Oh, this is part of the action economy I mentioned before. Because you use your reaction to attack her, you don't get a reaction back until your turn. So you do benefit from the AC bonus from this shield, but you're not able to bring it up in her way yet.
Darn.
So she chomps you with her teeth again. Another 5 points of damage. And I need another fortitude save from you, please.
Tremendous.
You know what? Hold on. I'm a cheating fuck. You have had a turn since, because otherwise, like, she leaped last turn, and that's when you did your thing. So you can use your reaction to interpose your shield if you like.
I would, surprisingly.
Okay.
I would.
What I say? 5 points of damage.
Yep.
Okay, so then your shield blocks up to 6. It's a hardness 6 shield. So yeah, your shield. You can hear her teeth sink into your shield. You shake it aside. And one or two of those teeth remain on the shield as she drops to the ground. And then she's gonna she's actually gonna leap onto Bargle and lands on him. So that's it for her. Next up is Huxley.
Ooh, much as I love her, I'd actually like to smack her one.
I'm going to say because you were next to Bargle and because she's engaged, you don't need a stride to get in. You can just attack.
Ooh. Right.
Okay. That is not good enough.
No use.
So you swing. First action, it runs. You're being careful not to hit Bargle, but unfortunately you overcorrect a little too much and miss her altogether. Second action would be a +1 if you want to attack again.
I certainly would.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
Oh, yes.
Okay, go ahead and roll damage.
Sorry, 1 second. Oh,
Nice. Okay.
sucks.
So another really
slash
nasty
across the
strike.
shoulder blades.
Yeah, you cut through, and she screams out in this weird mixture of like a girl, but also there's a weird reverb, kind of like scream to it that echoes throughout the chamber. You still have one more action. You could attack at -4 to just like a d20 -4, or you could take it to do something else.
No, I'll just make sure I'm right behind her.
Okay. So yeah, you're absolutely there.
Sandwich.
Oh. Okay, so you're flanking her? Is that what you said?
Yep.
Cool, excellent. You position yourself. Yep. She's flat-footed now. Okay, next up is Bargle.
Now, she's still on top of me?
She's right in front of you, yeah.
But she's not on top of me.
She's basically engaged with you. She's sort of scrambling at you, and you're keeping your distance. She hasn't managed to connect just yet.
Okay. Well, I'm going to hold my hand out in front of me.
Yep.
And say the command word and discharge my ring with verbal, somatic, and material component, unleashing a full blast of magic missile on her.
Okay. So with a somatic component, so any somatic action has a trait called manipulate. And manipulate is something that triggers reactions. So if she had attacks of opportunity or something like that, it would trigger. She does not have those actions. So use flare.
I was willing to take that risk.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll damage, please. I think it's 3d4 plus 3.
Get away from me, you bitch!
Nice. A little more self-serving than Ripley, but still pretty cool. So your magic just like basically flences the undead flesh from her body, and leaves her a charred ruin at the ground. And the last thing you hear echoing off in a language you shouldn't understand but do understand, you hear the echoing word, Papa. And then it is silent in the tomb of Vigo. What are you doing?
I'm going to collect both of the bodies.
Okay.
I'm going to open the coffin lid of each of the two girls' coffins, place them back inside with the silver coins I originally intended for them.
Okay.
Close the coffins, a prayer to the unknown God for each of them.
Okay.
And then give a thumbs up to the others.
Okay. I think Huxley's probably going to have to help you with those lids because they're pretty heavy, but he's able to easily pull them back. Okay, so then what?
Huxley comments about Bargle's a nicer man than he is. After getting bitten that many times, I'm feeling a lot less charitable.
Very true.
Okay, done. Now, can I chug a potion?
Yes, you can. Absolutely.
Now that they're been defeated, I'm going to detect magic and see if there's still that ominous aura going on about the room.
There is, yeah. And it seems to be emanating from that central sarcophagus.
Mm.
What would you guys like to do? Ruggin, because you rolled so well earlier, you do know that at the last Guardian Barrow, that sword that paladin of Arcantrell keeps bragging about, that thing was found resting on the knees of a skeletal throned figure.
I guess we have to open the damn thing. And with that he chugs a potion, taking his chances on a third.
Okay, so give me a D20 roll, please.
All right.
You chug it, and apart from a really incredible placebo effect, it has no effect on you.
He barks out more confident than ever. I'm fine.
You will get a hero point. 4 hours, see a cleric.
As his arm falls on the ground.
Yeah, Ruggin, you can go ahead and take another hero point for that. So, right. What are you guys going to do then? Describe for me how you wish to open the sarcophagus of Vigo.
I'm going to examine the surfaces of the sarcophagus and see if there's any writings, symbols, pictographs, whatever I can glean from it.
And while Barbara's doing that, I'll be looking for traps.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. So it does not appear to be trapped, and it does appear to have lots of symbols and whatnot around it. You are confident that this contains Vigo.
So how about that climbing kit of yours? Can we use that to winch it off? Or at least tug it off? Because what was in the climbing kit again? It was rope, but also
pulleys and pythons. Exactly. And
pulley and pythons. We ought to, if we hammer the pythons into either the floor or the other sarcophagus, then maybe we can use the pulleys to slide the lid off.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'll get working on that.
Sure. You guys get that all set up. You secure the things to the lid, and you begin. I'm guessing that Huxley's doing.
I'll do most of it, I guess.
I'm going to pray to the unknown deity.
Okay.
Saying, basically, "O great unknown deity, we have returned 2 of your souls back to you. Please allow us to safely open and retrieve items from this main sarcophagus."
Okay. You very briefly, and this is only you, Bargle, you see a slight glow come from the ceiling, and you look up, and for the briefest moment, you see the glory that was this thing when Vigo was first laid to rest. The jewels that bedecked the hammered bronze, the way that it caught the light and danced like fire, and then just as quick as you see it, it's gone. And then you guys finish pulling the sarcophagus up. It reaches. You can see it goes inside, so it's like a slot. As the thing, you see the last bit of the lid raise above the edges of the sarcophagus. This roiling mist pours out from within. It fills the room. So you can't see your feet. It's up to about your shins. And you're looking around. You're listening as well to Bargle, because that's when you heard those voices before. And just as quickly as it appears, it seems to roil off through the open stone door and out of sight. Nothing else happens.
Okay, I'm going to detect magic again in the room.
Okay. There is a faint necrotic aura around here, but nowhere near as powerful as what you had detected before. It's the difference of like a blazing bonfire versus a single candle.
All right, I'm going to shoulder check Huxley, nudging him forward. Go check it out.
You can easily push. It's at the level right now, so you could push it over to see what's inside.
Okay, so I will lean in there.
Okay. What you see inside are the skeletal remains of some great northern lord. It is clearly the decayed remnants of what is depicted as the stone statue or carving on the lid of the sarcophagus. In one hand, there is this very faded and decayed shield. But in the other hand is a brilliant northern-styled mace. And Bargle, you're still sort of concentrating on magic, and this thing blazes with energy.
Ooh, that's shiny.
There are fine, softly glowing runes carved into the flanges at the head of this mace as well. What do you guys do?
I think we got ourselves a magic mace here.
And Ruggin, standing on his tiptoes, is looking over the edge with everyone else.
I'm an impulsive guy. I will lean forward and reach for the mace.
So as your hand goes onto the grip of the mace, you all hear faintly this kind of like this like battle shout. And you pick it up, and the runes flare to life. This is a +1 mace. And one badass thing with magic items in Pathfinder 2 is it gives you +1 to hit, but it also gives you +1 dice on damage. Yeah, so, and that also gets multiplied on crits and shit like that, so you can really stack up some damage with magic stuff. This also has a enchanted ability, so as an action, you can trigger the Inspire Courage bardic power, which basically gives +1 to hit, +1 to damage to everyone within, I think it's like 30 feet. This is the mace. It has a name. You know this as you pick it up, Huxley. This is Victory Song.
Ooh. Sweet.
Now, having recovered this, knowing the state that you guys are all in, I'm going to assume that you guys are going to book back to town. Because I see we're coming up on time for quitting. Ruggin, you're pretty beat up. You're down to no more henchmen. Am I right in thinking you wouldn't bother to explore the rest of the crypt, or would you guys have plundered every available thing?
Oh, plundered for sure.
Okay. So what I'll say is that in the main room, you're able to plunder, and in there, Ruggin, because you insist on at least checking that, you do find an incredibly valuable-looking gold chalice gripped in the skeletal hands of one of the people interred there. That sucker was worth a whopping 100 gold pieces.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm going to assume that you guys, discretion was the better part of valor. You guys headed off otherwise back to town. Do you take the bodies back with you? Bodies of Rothmoor or Callus? It will slow you down.
I do pick up Callus's sword.
Okay.
To give to Susan. That way, Callus's nephew can have a memento of his uncle.
His half elven nephew, is that what you're getting at?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so
Well, I think we should try and carry him back if we can. Although I guess it's a slog.
Yeah.
Through the mud.
I rolled random encounters, and you guys are able to get back to Helix without other incident. But there is one outro scene as you guys are making your way around. I think we'll say one of you went out and sort of managed to find some trees or something like that to make a kind of a travois to transport the bodies back. You are carrying that now, the victory song with you, the beautiful chalice you recovered, Rugs.
Yes.
And as you guys are hiking away and disappearing into the mist of the Barrowmoor, we see, as it's panning back, that there is the swirling mist sort of coalesce into this tall, pale form of a man with a long, thick beard and very, very almost white blonde hair. He looks down as you guys look away, and then there's two more swirling mists that appear beside him, and then these two girls reappear, looking as they did when you first saw him. And one of them says something up to him, something, Papa. And his hand goes down, and you can see his hand ends in these vicious claws, and he sort of strokes her head, and he shakes. No. We don't, and you can see, we can't understand what's being said, but we'll see subtitles at the bottom, and the subtitles say, "No, not yet, child. Let them go. We will find them in town."
Yeah.
And with that, we will end this session. So congratulations, guys. You have raided one of the Guardian Barrows.
Cool.
So that was great. First off, thank you so much for those listening at home for joining us for yet another episode or session of the Barrowmaze campaign. This makes 10, so we're into double digits now, which is pretty exciting. This is, of course, canon. So whatever happened tonight did happen in the campaign, which I look forward to seeing the fallout from that. You also may notice that in the link in the description of this video, there are links to the charity fundraising campaign that we are running on the channel. This is something called Heroes Save Villages, where we have paired up with the SOS Children's Villages International Charity, a really terrific organization that provides both advocacy and actual direct benefits for kids living in very high need circumstances. So if you enjoyed the session, I would encourage you to consider clicking through and learning more about the campaign, seeing what rewards we have available for those who donate, and to learn more about SOS Children's Villages International as well. Finally, last and certainly not least here, thank you so much for my players for joining me on Sunday morning for this one shot with this. I hope you guys had a good time. I certainly enjoyed the hell out of this.
Absolutely.
And
No, it was great. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
So with that, and I guess as finally in closing, as always, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, if I fucked up any rules and you want to correct me on it, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section below, or you can reach me on Twitter at Dungeon Musings, all one word, plural, or you can shoot me an email at dungeonmusings@gmail.com. So otherwise, thank you so much, folks. Oh, it's freezing up there. Let's see here. I wonder if I froze up on the outro. Thanks again to my players. Hope you guys had a great time, and I will see you all again soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.